Okay, there we go. So I've been sleeping a little, although, um, but yeah. So as far as I can see from the overall summary in some sense of this, and again, I haven't seen it all um, because you need to have the translators. Some of them are speaking English, some of them are not. Then you have need to have the translators and all that. But overall, in regards of the Cairo Peace Summit, I would call it the bullshit summit, or maybe the not a summit. Why did I actually wrote summit? Cairo Peace Summit. It was like conference, like the bullshit conference, the Egypt bullshit conference. Um, I just wrote that on let's see if we can find it. I just wrote, I think the most evil country in this whole conflict is Egypt. How so? They keep their borders closed for fleeing non combatant people getting out of Gaza into safety, you know, or keeping them from getting out of Gaza safety. People, okay, as I see it, they keep their borders closed for fleeing non combatant people, keep, keep people getting out of Gaza into safety. They keep their borders closed for fleeing combatant people getting out of Gaza into safety. Yeah, guess I'm not sure that is totally good English, keeping them out or keeping them well. Anyway, Egypt is the most wicked one in this show, I think. They don't want to talk about the solution. They want to look like the good guys, but they're full of bullshit. Jordan as well is full of bullshit. Jordan and Egypt is the prime bullshitters. So they could have helped in this situation. Saudi Arabia as well. And again, the overall agenda by the nations, and surprisingly enough, also the Western nations, is a two-state bullshit conflict. A further conflict by promoting a two-state. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, and I was actually, some of years ago where let's see here was we need to try to get some power into the mobile. Um, should be charging now, although it's still blinking. But hey, you never know with all these disgusting things where you can't change the battery or anything like that, because that would be too easy, right? Because we don't anyway. So overall, this summit or conference, this so-called peace conference and all that, um, is bullshit. It's absolutely ridiculous. You think the Jews will give, and actually, I think the names for the West Bank was actually Judea and Samaritan, although I'm not entirely sure, but at least in regards of the biblical names and all that. Um, but anyway, the so-called West Bank. And you think the Jews are just going to give up the West Bank? What is wrong with you people? The Jews have just been attacked. They are in a war, and you think they just want to give up the West Bank, which by the way also make them harder to actually defend the nation overall. You think they just want to hand it over to you guys? Oh yeah, because the international community says that we think you should hand over, the West Bank to the Philistines, and we'll just import a huge amount of Philistines into the area, and we'll just have so-called peace, right? Yeah, a little further you know, into killing more Jews. Well, a conflict that would further push killing and but that's what they want. The Mohammedan nations want conflict. And Egypt could have, made they could have helped hugely on this situation. And what are they doing? They're just promoting more conflict. Again, they're clearly not the friend of Israel. Again, we can see Jordan, where I saw, one of the sources that talked about Israel saying to their people, if there is anyone in Egypt or Jordan, to get home. Um, So they, um, so they, yeah, they're pretty much they're going against Israel. No, whatever they say, just look at the fruit, the rotten fruit that they are producing. So again, I think Egypt is the most evil, you know, piece in this conflict because they could have opened up their borders. They do the opposite. They have, according to, I think it was like this meeting, around 200 carloads of aid that they want to get into Gaza, while they could just open the borders and get that aid to these people that is coming out of Gaza and have a place where there's no bombs that are falling, no airstrikes, and this and that, and go in the direction of solving the issue and naturalizing these people into Egypt, into Saudi Arabia, into Jordan and other nations, and get people away from this bullshit idea of a two-state depravity. So yeah, that's. But we'll see. We'll see what the bullshit. Oh yeah, that was like the poop was like praying for, the poop. The man of sin was praying for the people in Gaza. I think like something like that. That was some a couple of minutes of that on one of the pages. I guess I can't really find it. That was one of the pages. I have so many tabs open, so yeah. But he has to be shown as the man of peace, right? While he's the top of the satanic pyramid. So anyway, but no one wants to talk about that. We so concerned about talking about the truth on that. So yeah. Anyway, so what do we have more? We had something in regards of apparently Israel seems to going to ban one of the news stations. I don't think that would be a good choice, but okay, it just doesn't really seem to be. You know, I hate these things when people are banning things. Whether they are pushing bullshit or not and all that. I don't like censoring things on the internet, because if you want to know what you always have to have the ability to know what the other one is saying, even if they're pushing garbage and lies and all that. It's just I don't like this thing in regards to censoring them. Anyway, let's see. Israeli authorities shows. Let's see here. Shows international journalists raw gruesome footage of Israeli death. I guess they haven't shown a lot of the things that really was. This is like an hour ago, so I would think that probably the Jews have a lot of video of all these insanities that have been going on. So, and the thing is, of course, it's but yeah, it's instead of hiding it away, if people want to look at it and verify it for themselves, I think the information should be the data should be available for people, even if it's gruesome. So people can see for themselves what is really the facts, because people can say things and all that, right? But if we have some evidence, further evidence, that does help the overall picture in this this war of information, right? Anyway, let's see what this one says.
Like the New York Times, the ABC, and
See
the
here.
BBC blindly report Hamas's lies rather than publish the truth that would be sympathetic to Israel.
Okay.
Overnight, Israeli authorities took the extraordinary step of calling international media into a private briefing where they were played the raw and gruesome footage of Hamas killing innocent Israelis on October 7.
But I really don't understand why they don't just release it to the people, right? We have all these gruesome pictures from World War II. What is the meaning of having these pictures? To see what was going on, because they was like, the people won't believe it in the future, right? So we better make some documentation and some video in regards of it, so we can show people the gruesome acts in regards of this. So I'm not entirely sure how, of course of course it's disgusting and this and that, right? But with data points going back and forward, it's like, if someone doubts anything and all that, they can go look for themselves, right, on the data points, right? So yeah.
Israeli authorities felt the international media were downplaying or even denying what had unfolded in these terror attacks. They say the lies are similar to the phenomenon of Holocaust deniers.
Yeah. That's why I don't understand why they just release the whole footage. I know it's sensitive and this and that, but really, when you have a world rejecting these atrocities, it would be nice so that people could just say, go look it for yourself. Go and look at the data yourself, right?
Since the October 7th massacre, the IDF has been collecting footage from body cams taken by the Hamas death squads as they rampage through the communities in
That's the way to do it,
southern Israel, butchering everyone in sight. Now, unfortunately, and I can't...
It's not like you want the video because of you just want the video to prove what is being and support what is being said already. For those who don't believe, that things happen.
Can't believe I'm saying this, and I can't believe that we as a country are having to do this. As we work to defeat the terror organization that brutalized our people, we are witnessing a Holocaust denial-like phenomenon evolving in real time, as people are casting doubt on the magnitude of the atrocities that Hamas committed against our people.
Yeah, and this is exactly what, it's nothing new, people denying the Holocaust, it's typical. Those people denying the Holocaust want another Holocaust. If you talk to people that deny the Holocaust, they usually want another Holocaust. They want to kill off the Jews, murder the Jews, and all that, and reject the Holocaust that happened. So yeah, it's nice that they're actually doing that, collecting all the information that they can for people to actually be able to see it in the future as well. But I think it actually just should be available so the whole world can see the atrocities, instead of denying it,
People, and in fact recorded in order to glorify that violence. Therefore, tomorrow, the government press office will screen for foreign media gruesome and as yet unseen footage of the barbarities perpetrated against our people on October 7th.
Now, what we're about to speak about is incredibly distressing.
So that's tomorrow. So if this was today, then it's tomorrow they're going to show these people. And I still don't understand it. Why only the reporters? Why not just release it to the people so the people can see? I kind of dislike this filter thing, right? That information have to be filtered through all these stages and all that. Just give us the raw footage, and get it out, I mean, I just the better thing. Then people can see how absolutely disgusting it is,
If you have children watching the show tonight, perhaps mute the volume for a minute or two.
Oh, it will be shown. Okay. So maybe it will be released on the internet then. Okay, so it actually will be shown to the public. Okay, that's I think that's the way to do it, because people are so much in denial of It's typical. It's absolutely typical, right? First they celebrate, with candy and celebration and all that of the butchering of the Jews and all that, and then we hide it away, right? We don't want to. No, this and that. Oh, we are so sweet, right? They go back into the state of being, the victimhood, right? They came out as a wolf that was, making lots of destruction and killing the Jews, right? And then they go back to we're the victims, we're the victims, we're the victims. But you just butchered huge amount of people of the Jews, and you celebrated it, and the candy thing and whatever and all that, as typical is in regards of, the Mohammedans, They're all in it together. It's Mohammedanism. It's a stinking religion.
True. 100 international journalists viewed the footage from October 7 last night. Some burst into tears as they saw beheadings, torture, and murder.
Yeah, there we go. I was in Yad Vashem, right? The first time I was in Israel. And I broke down. I didn't think it would affect me so much. But the evil of mankind is absolutely... I took a little time for me. I think the first time I went to Yad Vashem, I broke down, but it was I was somewhat into it. And I just didn't know what to do with myself, because it was like all these absolutely disgusting, filthy things. I just totally, I broke down. I didn't know what to do with myself anymore. I was like, this is absolutely, absolutely. I can't remember when it's just totally happened. I can remember one of the time I couldn't. Yeah, it's just evil upon evil upon evil upon evil. It's absolutely to a point where you just end up breaking down, because it's so disgusting. It's so vile. It's so evil. It's so absolutely. Yeah. Well, we can't take the battery out, right? Just light us a little more, or whatever it's called. But I think it was the first time. Now it's like 6 years ago, something like that. So it's some years ago. I think it was the first time I went to Yad Vashem. It took a little time. Then the second time I was on Yad Vashem. I think it was like 4 times. It's a huge, gigantic thing. And the thing is, I tend to dig things. Yeah, I tend to dig. I began to do it. Just absorb. The problem is I can't remember things, it's like now it's like you put in a new book in the brain and another book falls out, it's just, but anyway, so it's kind of, I like to sum up the things and all that. I think it was the second time that this thing came very quickly. You get into this, first time it took a little time to break down, where you just break down in regards to the info. The second time, I think it went a little quicker, where yeah, it's absolutely insane. But anyway, so it's this, let's see, terrified boys witness father's murder in raw footage screened by Israel by Hamas attack. Deborah Haynes, okay.
Burst into tears as they saw beheadings, torture, and murder. Yosef Haddad is one journalist who attended this briefing from the Israeli government.
Yeah, I would like to see that as well. Not that I doubt the information, but it's just, when you see it for yourself, see the evil for yourself, you can't deny that it's there, And they hate the Jews. They hate the Jews. And people want to talk about a two-state solution. I can't believe it. It's hard to believe your ears that multiple nations are now pushing this garbage of a two-state depravity nonsense,
Right, perhaps mute the volume for a minute or two. 100 international journalists viewed the footage from October 7 last night. Some burst into tears as they saw beheadings, torture, and murder. Yosef Haddad is one journalist who attended this briefing from the Israeli government. After watching 43 minutes of the vision that was filmed from the Israeli government, after watching 43 minutes of the
43 minutes of a lot of cruelty, I'm sure.
Vision that was filmed by Hamas when they attacked Israel, here's what he said.
Hamas terrorists, they run after them, and in front of the two kids, they shot the father and killed him in front of their eyes. After that, they dragged the two kids inside of the house. The kid was shot in the eye. The other kid was injured. Both of them were injured badly. And the Hamas terrorists, they find time to open the fridge and drink Coca-Cola. And at that time, one of the kids shouted, "Kill me, why I am not dead?" A 10-year-old kid is shouting, "Kill me, I don't want to be alive."
Can you imagine a 10-year-old begging to be shot again because he doesn't want to be alive? And here was Dutch journalist Yotam Confino, who's currently reporting in Israel, describing Hamas's terror attacks as ISIS on steroids.
Well, I saw a Hamas terrorist throwing a hand grenade into a bomb shelter where a man, a father with his two sons, he was hiding there. We also saw, of course, the beheadings. We saw an Israeli soldier lying on the ground, beheaded. We saw pictures of a burned child, burned beyond recognition. All you could see was that it was a very small person. We saw a picture of a dead baby with blood on it.
Now, all of this footage won't be shown publicly out of respect for those who've passed away.
Yeah, I don't really. If I was killed, right? If I was killed and there was some information on it, I didn't want the state to keep this information. And this is the typical thing with the bullshitting state and all that. I will have the information out for everybody, everybody that wanted to look into my things and stuff and all that after death, they should just be allowed to do it. Just do it. I don't care. Just do it. What I do care about is that the state are protecting, and actually they might actually just be protecting themselves in regards to their own insane, wicked things, because a lot of these states are run by the devil and the children of the devil. So yeah. So yeah, I'm sick and tired of. I'm sick and tired of the bullshit and hiding away of the facts. Oh, let's not show the people. In respect of. What are you talking about? If it was me that was killed, I would have wanted the whole world to see it. I wouldn't have hidden it away. Hey, show me. What? Are you kidding me? Now, if someone killed you and they videotaped it, hey, show the world. Show the world, what they did, whatever, just have the truth out there, Might not look so good and this and that, right? But hey, I don't see the idea of hiding it away because, then people will not know what happened really, and they only have the words of people, and all other people can say otherwise and all that. So again, by not releasing this footage, you will still have people that can say, well, they really, if they really have doubt, they should be able to just go and look at it for themselves so they can see, oh, it's actually true.
And because it's simply too graphic. That Dutch journalist said that...
It's like, people are seeing movies all the time with blood splattered all over and this and that and all that, okay? We see the Second World War pictures as well, right? This protecting of, I don't... Those people who are in doubt should be able to just go and look at it so they can get the, so they can... be hit by the facts, Like, go to Yad Vashem and be hit by the facts in regards of the Holocaust. It's absolutely disgusting. And of course, you can dig further into in regards to the Ustashi, and there's so many disgusting, filthy things in humankind. Just to whitewash these things is not the way to go around it, because the killing machine and the murderous satanic machine is still ongoing. And if people just forget what happened, formerly, whitewash it, and then just makes more murderous, rewrite history and all that, no, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing.
Some of the other visions showed a father and two sons, roughly 7 and 9 years old.
Let's see, a father and two sons, roughly 7 and 9, running for their lives in their underwear into what appears to be a bomb shelter with an open entrance. A Hamas terrorist throws a hand grenade into the shelter, killing the father and badly injuring the two sons who run back into the house. So killing the father and badly injuring the two sons who run back into the
running
house.
for their lives in their underwear into what appears to be a bomb shelter with an open entrance. He said a Hamas terrorist throws a hand grenade into the shelter, killing the father and badly injuring the two sons.
Like, attacking standard, it's not even military. Although they will say, everyone is an occupier, right? And because everyone is an occupier, we're just defending. We are the resistance against the occupiers. All kinds of bullshit, killing people that, non-combatant people.
Sons who run back into the house. Another video.
I guess those people celebrating peace and all that, and of course it seems to be pagan, satanic as well. There seems to be a Buddha statue or whatever, and into was like some psychedelics and all that apparently as well. Not a surprise in regards to these things. They usually are connected to Satanism and all that. But I guess they got they got shown what the devil really is about. It's just not love and peace. It's a lot of destruction and killing and murder and all that. It's so many people run with the devil. And sure, it's not all, some will say, peace and love and all that, but it's a diabolical peace and love. When you worship the devil, it's the wrong way to go about it. There's a law in the Bible that you only to worship the one true gods. So there we go. You're not to worship any other gods, but the living gods. That would be Jehovah. So, and, worshiping anything else than Jehovah is worshiping the devil. If you worship the earth that was created, if you worship the stars and planets and whatnot, or other kinds of, statues of different kinds of so-called gods and all that, you're worshiping demons, you're worshiping the devil. It's a no-go, The worst kind of Satanism is pretty much the thing with sheep clothing on it that proclaims themselves Christians but are the devil's children. Mohammedanism is clear stinking wolves. So it's not really so hard to figure that out. That they are Satanists. 1.8 billion Mohammedans. That's 1.8 billion Satanists in the world. Then you have Roman Catholicism, that's 1.2 billion, that's 3 billion Satanists just right there. Then you have the Hindus, the Buddhists, and the rest of,
Video showed a Hamas terrorist calling his parents and saying to them, I killed 10 Jews with my own hands. I'm using the dead Jewish woman's phone to call you now. The mother says, may God protect you.
Hamas terrorist calling his parents, I killed 10 Jews with my own hands. I'm using the dead Jewish woman's phone to call you now. The mother says, may God protect you. What utter rubbish. Yeah. That's their goal. They find, they see it as a good thing, killing Jews. And again, this was just a little taste. This was just a little taste of what they really want to do. And the Jews hopefully have understood that. Mostly, as far as I know, they do understand that, because they're in the middle of the conflict. apparently just the rest of the world that are just full of garbage and do not understand that Israel and the Jews are surrounded by enemies that want to butcher and slaughter them, like we just saw, but on a whole national, the whole of Israel, they wanted to run red with blood.
The journalist also saw, according to this tweet,
Hamas terrorists enter a house where a small girl is seen hiding under the table. After some talking back and forth, they shoot and kill her as she hides under the table. Hard to say how old she is, but looks like 7 or 9 years old. Now, these children surely has not been, what do you call it, you think they are IDF soldiers, these children? You think they have been, because that would be one of the excuses, right, from Hamas, well, they are IDF soldiers, because there is, you are to, there's like, I think it's called forcefully, in regards of military thing and all that in Israel and all that. But you think that children, the small children has, come up to that point yet and all that? Yeah, it's a messy thing, a messy conflict, a very diabolical conflict. And I think Egypt is actually the worst piece in all this. I think Egypt is absolutely disgusting. I think they're actually more disgusting than the Philistinians in this. And why would I say that? Because, Egypt didn't do and blah, blah, but they closed the borders. Egypt have kept the borders closed for people to get out of Gaza. I think that's a crime. That's a human crime to just close the borders for your own people to flee from Gaza into Egypt. And why? Because then it would solve the issue. You have sources, Egyptian sources, saying that themselves. They know the solution. Jordan most likely also know the solution because they talk about the red line. So, and probably others of the Mohammedan world knows that there would actually be a solution. This would be a solution to remove the people of Gaza and the West Bank and to give it over in full control to the Jews. That would be a solution. That is a solution, but they don't want that because they want the conflict to continue. And now they promoted this bullshit of the two-state solution, so-called solution. I can't believe, it's hard to believe that the world is so retarded, so absolutely wicked, so evil that it would go in and support a two-state bullshit maniac madness, for further conflict of the Jews. Just after the Jews have just been butchered and attacked and all that, this is what the world is wanna doing. You gotta be kidding me. Absolutely disgusting. It's just absolutely disgusting. Any nation that points or push this two-state depravity should really think about what they're doing. I can't believe that that they can't think so far. I can't believe that they can be so depraved, so absolutely numb, so absolutely there doesn't seem to be any light up there. Seems to be full of darkness that can't really okay, the Jews have just been attacked. Oh, let's push a two-state garbage and give just I can't absolutely yeah I just how anyone can be so absolutely mad. The whole world is absolutely a madhouse. And again, if Israel does this to the world, I can understand why they would do it, okay? I can understand if they wanted to tell the UN, hey, you see, mwah, mwah, you see these two fingers? Your whole international community can go, sorry, I shouldn't really do, I might be a little over to the top and all that in regards of, are we just trying to get the information over, the point across, okay? So I might not be maybe I should be a little more soft in regards of, but it's like people's like, smoothing all the things out and this and that and all that. Let's just be direct and tell the truth, and if and when they talk about, well, Israel has gone against this and this UN resolution and blah 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 blah. If the rest of the bullshit is as bullshit as this one, I can understand why Israel would just, whatever. Did you say anything? I didn't hear you. Whatever. It's just like the world doesn't understand that Israel is put in the smack middle of enemies surrounding them, and if they lose one single war, they will have no state. One single nation in the world is Jewish, and you want to take that from them. They just need to lose one war, and the Mohammedans will get their bloodbath. I don't think it will happen in regards to them losing the land again, but I don't know. I don't know everything and all that. I do know that there's some prophecies that doesn't sound so good in regards to the Jews, in regards of them being so. But I don't think it says they will. Anyway, that's a prophecy in regards of Israel never to be uprooted again. Well, that's, I guess, more than one, but that's the one I can remember at the moment, where it talks about God, that he will plant Israel again, never to be uprooted. Now, it wasn't done in the past, so maybe this time, or maybe a future time. But anyway, at least it's a prophecy. God is clearly not over with the Jews or Israel. Israel will become the mountain, the great mountain of mountains, okay? In the future. This is the great kingdom of the King of Kings. And Jerusalem is his city. So anyway. So Hamas terrorists enter a house where a small girl is hiding under the table. After some talking back and forth, they shoot and kill her as she hides under the table. Hard to say how old she is, but looks like 7 or 9 years old. Yeah, I'm sure she was just a huge threat to these maniacs, right? Just a little girl.
Terrorists enter a house where a small girl is seen hiding under the table. After some talking back and forth, they shoot and kill her as she hides under the table. Hard to say how old she is, but she looks like 7 to 9.
Oh, and by the way, just so you know, if you actually looked in regards to the Holocaust, you begin to realize what people are capable of, okay? That, people full of demons can do the most as atrocity, the greatest atrocities, and you can't even, it's hard to even believe that anyone could do something like that. But, a lot of people are just following the devil, A lot of people are just does the work of the devil. I want to see what
You
happens.
think of these atrocities, and then you think of the protests we've seen globally.
Let's see here. I need to move this a little away so I can see the... Okay, there we go. I just need to see... There we go, so we can hit it. Okay, we have this one of like 10 years.
Where a small girl is seen hiding under the table. After some talking back and forth, they shoot and kill her as she hides under the table.
I guess many people wouldn't believe... No, they couldn't really do... But if you look at the Holocaust, that's, again... there's so much evil in this world. If you look in regards to the Ustashi as well, what they did to the Serbs, the evil that can really, when evil are set loose in this world and set free, it's so disgusting.
Hard to say how old she is, but she looks like 7 to 9 years old. And on it goes.
And on it goes. Yeah. I personally, I think they should release the video if they have collected a video collection of these things, because again, like the Holocaust, if people don't see the evidence, they tend to disbelieve. So personally, I think they should release the video to the public. So everybody who doubts these things can actually see them for themselves. And I understand that they're this and that and all that, but rather have the truth out there than people who just end up defending and disbelieve and all that. So um, yeah, and further promote destruction of the Jews.
You think of these atrocities, and then you think of the protests we've seen globally with hundreds of thousands of people giving moral support to Hamas. And
yeah, isn't it interesting, right? Giving support to this maniac group. Oh, but they're just the resistance. Again, if you look at this resistance and this video of a school bus, sadly, I don't have the full video. Last time I looked for it, I couldn't find the full video, but I did find some of it. Like this here, Hamas, I guess Hamas, school bus, singing, something of that name. Let's see here if we can find it. Music. Oh yeah, singing, music video. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if we can find it. It's again, you need to dig around to because some things of that kind tend to be removed from the internet. Because we can't see the truth. That will be. Because Mohammedanism is a religion of peace, right? So that can't be true, right? Anyway, we have some pictures of the video at least. Yeah, new Hamas music clip encourages suicide bomb, right? Let's see if we can find that's at least 2 links of it. I'm not sure. I had to go to. I don't think Google. Let's try Google and see, but it didn't really seem. Google is a disgusting platform of murder. Oh, censorship. Sorry, censorship. Yeah, well, censorship was probably the right word here. My bad. Let's see pictures. Let's see if it actually can find. Okay, we actually do find. Oh, here we have the memory. Actually, that was also in regards to the other video that was pretty good. That I actually should down. I should actually make a Mohammedan playlist on my website. I do already have some of the Mohammedan videos, but maybe I should just make a little collection of some of the things so people can see for themselves. It's just so evil. Just looking at the thing is just. It's just evil. And this is an Israeli bus. This is a civil bus. It's not a military target in any way. The green bus in the background that is shown as having exploded is a civil bus of I've been on these buses in Israel. A standard civil bus. And here they go. Let's see if we have. I don't know how much of the video they have, but at least I know last time I looked for it, I couldn't find the full thing. I know I saw the full thing in the past. Pro Hamas music video, the roof of the. Let me go back here. No. The roof of the bus goes flying. Alva Ed, band, whatever. Okay, let's go a little back here. Maybe they do have the full video here, but let's see here, a little back here. So yeah, this is from come on. So Pro Hamas music video, the roof of the bus goes flying. The internet, February the 7th, 2016. So again, just remember, this is like a civil bus in the background. It's so evil. It's just so evil. Maybe I also can find the video in regards to where the Gaza guy says that 50% of them are Egyptians and 50% of them are Saudis, in regards of Gaza. And I do have a picture of it because someone else actually pointed out as well, found, where he had taken a picture of it. But... I saw the video many years ago. A good amount of years. Alva Ed band for Mohammedan art or whatever you want to call it. Right? Commander Yahya Ashar. And see, here we have the civilian boss. Wow, what a military target, right? And a civilian boss. This is their propaganda. This is this is what they're promoting. So there we go, right? Be glad, brother Ayash. For the compassionate has blessed you. You gotta be kidding me. The devil, they're singing to the devil, right? And so look at this is the boss that is, exploded and all that. It's not a military target. It's a direct civil target. They don't even hide it in this video, For the explosive you planted in the enemy's body was so alive. This is what you support if you support Hamas, Murder and butchering of civilian people. This is what they're pushing. A little hard to see maybe the screen. There we go. Screen is not the best. You did not let a single bus drive through a neighborhood. And then it points to the bus, which is, again, a civilian bus. It's a civilian bus. They want to strike fear into the hearts of the Jews. They never, they don't want any Jews to feel safe in the land of Israel. That's their agenda. They love death more than the Jews love life, okay? Anyway. But this is like the memory TV. I can remember they have some pretty good stuff. You did not let a single bus drive through a neighborhood. Without having chunks of the bus and body parts go flying. Again, we're talking about civilian buses. We're not talking about military targets. We're talking about civilian buses. Without having, and then it rolls back in regards of what is happening. Again, you see a civilian bus. You see civilians standing there. And then you see the guy with the bomb. And O bearer of good tidings, wrap the explosive belt around your waist. Is that good tidings? Good tidings to blow up civilian buses, and civilians and all that? So the story of the Intifada will only be told when the roof of the bus goes flying. Again, non-military target. O bearer of good tidings, wrap the explosive belt around your waist. Yeah, that's what people support in regards of Hamas and all the Gaza bullshit and all that. That's what you're supporting. And the story of the Intifada will only be told when the roof of the bus goes flying. O martyrdom seeker, heed the call of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So actually, I'm not even sure. Do we have the Al-Aqsa Mosque? I think actually that's the mosque that is. I think it's actually not the round. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it is actually. I know there's like a big mosque on the Temple Mount, and then you have the Dome of the Rock thing. But you have the mosque that is pretty much. I wonder. I can't remember if one or the other is actually called what. Because I'll have to. I can't remember everything, but it's either one of them. It's either the Dome of the Rock or the mosque that is on the Temple Mount a little further down, So anyway, on the Temple Mount. Make the blast of the bomb reach further and further. And what is he pointing to? The bus that has been exploded, the civil bus, not a military target. Make the blast of the bomb reach further and further. Make Netanyahu flee in shame. Unable to count the number of casualties. What kind of casualties? Civil casualties. Scatter them all over, strike fear among the people. Well, that's the whole point, to strike fear in the Jewish hearts. To show no mercy to their settlers. I guess, occupiers, right? To show no mercy to their settlers. Well, who are these settlers? Civilians? Non-combatant people? Yeah, well. Show no mercy to their settlers, yeah. Dispatch them to hell, nothing awaits them but the grave. O martyrdom seeker, the Al-Aqsa Mosque has called. O son, come to your martyrdom. Blow yourself up, O you with strong resolve. We will defend the soil of the pure Al-Aqsa. Yeah, maybe they should read the Bible instead, O bearer of good tidings. I don't know what good tidings that would be, but apparently they believe it's good tidings. I rather want the good tidings of Jesus Christ. This is clearly not to do with anything that Jesus told us to do, okay? So the good news is in regards of Yeshua, Jesus dying for the sins of the world and resurrected on the third day to everlasting life. So this is clearly not the true version of Jesus that they're following. Of course, it is not. They are Satanists. They are direct stinking Satanists. They are stinking wolves. Nothing to do with the truth. It's a religion of fear, of bullshit, of lying, of deception, of murder and destruction, and so forth. Anyone saying that Islam is the religion of peace is full of bullshit. It's not. It's just, it's deception. It's murder. It's, wicked nonsense. There we go. Oh, bearer of good tidings, wrap the explosive belt around your waist. The story of the Intifada will only be told when the roof of a bus goes flying. And it goes down. So here we see the civilians standing here waiting for the bus, 3 of them, and then you see the guy with the explosive. Here we see the standard Jew. It doesn't look like a military target, does he? Looks like a standard Jew, And we see some others waiting for the bus as well. And there we go. We see the bomber guy, right? Oh, martyrdom seeker, make them cry, make the fire engulf them. Yeah, it's a religion of death, that's what it is. Mohammedanism is a religion of death, It's just disgusting. Oh, martyrdom seeker, make them cry, make the fire engulf them. Turn them into body parts and roast them, right? bringing joy to the hearts of the steadfast people, and of course the Philistinians, you know. Oh, martyrdom seeker, it is our duty to defend our people. Oh yeah, by blowing other civilians up, right? You are the voice of honor within us. It's an honor to blow yourself up and kill a lot of, civilians. How many military guys do you see? You have the bus driver, you have one guy here, one guy there, one guy there, one guy there. How many of those are, and you probably, I don't know, in regards to the 3 other guys, if they came afterwards or first and all that. But yeah, how many military people do you see in that bus? With your explosive belt, we will defend our free women. We want the death to fill the streets. Can it be more clear? We want the dead to fill the streets. And the blood to intensify the pain. Make the Zionists withdraw from the wrath of my avenging people. And then we go again to the, O bearer of good tidings, wrap the explosive belt around your waist. Again, we see the civilian boss standing there, burning and so forward, And here we see the explosive guy, and then we see a guy. Does he look like a military guy, No military anything, just sitting in the civilian bus and not thinking about, probably not thinking about anything, right, in regards of... Then we have another Jew, right, just sitting there, Doesn't look like a military target to me either, The story of the Intifada will only be told when the roof of a bus goes flying. Yeah, there we go. This is what the Israeli army and the people of the Jews are up against, okay? People who love death more than the Jews love life, Disclose your secret to the compassionate. Doesn't really sound so compassionate to blow up other people. Oh, martyrdom seeker, the Lord has chosen you. Yeah, the devil has chosen you. Yeah. Our prophet Muhammad will be your neighbor. Yeah, Muhammad is a stinking false prophet, That's what he is. You see, the religion of fear doesn't want us to talk about the religion of fear and expose it. But we cannot stop speaking about what it is, because if we do not speak up because we're afraid of dying, well, then only the lies and the deceptions will continue. We cannot stop speaking about this filthy, stinking religion of the devil. We have to speak the truth, and we cannot be silenced just because, they will try to instill fear in us and, chop our head off. We have to speak the truth. That is the loving thing to do. Anyway. In paradise, your home has already been built. Yeah. Maybe you get the 72 virgins as well and all that bullshit going directly to heaven after you just killed a lot of civilians, right? Just innocent people doing their daily thing and all that, and yep, there we go, exploding. See, the difference in regards to the Jews and the Mohammedans is that the Mohammedans tries to inflict as much damage in regards of civilians, whereas the Jews are trying to do the opposite. Although it's hard for them to, when these people are doing whatever they, when the people in Gaza are doing anything to, all the tricks of the devil, it's hard to, when they don't play so-called fair, when they then put civilians in the front and use them as shield and so forward. It's kind of hard for the Jews to actually, like the Jews knock on the door in regards to this bang on the top of a building before it explodes. I'm not sure they do it at the moment, but that's something they have done for sure, where they first make an explosion to tell people we're going to bomb this target. They're actually telling the people, hey, get out, we're going to bomb this target to save their lives. They could just bomb the thing without telling anyone that we're going to bomb it. I also seen them actually just abort a mission because the civilians ended up, gathering together in regards to where they're told that they would bomb the building. Yet the civilians came together and they aborted because of civilians. So they sent emails out. They just, all the flyers that they told people to go south, to, it's like they could have done nothing. The Jews could have done nothing, right? And yet they have, they call them up, send them SMS, text messages. They knock on the door, as it's called, in regards of. You can see videos of this. They're out there on the internet. So, but yeah, it's absolutely, and they're firing rockets and rockets. What are Israel going to do while these people are continually firing rockets? They're using all the resources that they're getting on getting weapons and making rockets and making tunnels. They use the concrete instead of using the concrete to what it should be used. They're making tunnels instead. It's like it's been an ongoing thing. When peacetime is around, or it's just another way of fixing for another attack. It's like, how anyone can trust these people, Step up and take revenge on behalf of your religion. It's the Mohammedan religion. They want the Jews dead. Why do you think there's so much, the more Mohammedans that comes to a nation, the more Jew hatred is around. And it's just disgusting, Blow it up. Blow it up. May you be successful. Maybe a little back here, but yeah, this is what they stand for. Okay, just the religion of peace. My butthole. My unclean butthole after fixing out a pope into the toilet where he rightly should be. Anyway, blow it up. May you be successful. Oh, you who wears the explosive belt, your head is held high when we bring the good tidings. Oh, martyrdom-seeker, put on your explosive belt and blow it up. This is your finest hour. The finest hour to blow up other civilians. Yeah. This is the religion of Mohammedanism. Right there in front of our noses. We don't need to be deceived or anything like that. It's just right on the table for you people. How sweet are your bombs and explosives? You think about fighting, fighting against people like that who glorify in civilian death. And if you take the whole thing, you understand what it is, in regards of they're pushing fear. They want the Jews to fear. They don't want the Jews to feel safety. They say they love death more than the Jews love life. You love, we love death more than you love life. That is the bullshit, that they say. They want to get rid of the Jews. They see it as an occupation. They want to paint the whole nation red with Jewish blood and make another Holocaust and drive the remnant into the ocean. Okay, they are liars, they're deceivers, they're bullshitters, but that's what they want. They might not say it openly, they might hide it away like the deceivers, and they're full of demons. They're worshiping the devil. So blow up the shameless Zionist. And again, it's interesting that they use the Zionist, because what is a Zionist? Well, what is Zion? Zion is Jerusalem. And when they sell about the children of Zion, yeah, well, they're saying the children of Jerusalem. Anyway, that was that video. There you go. So that's what the Jews are up against. Um, so you begin to find out what it's really about and all that, and well, yeah. I begin to see through all the lies and the bullshit of these Satanists. Yeah, that's. So that was from Memory TV. Maybe I should just share it on Gap. See if. Actually, maybe I should also share. I'm thinking like maybe I should share it on Quartal. Maybe. I don't know. Can we actually? Or maybe I should just put it on Quartal. Maybe in the video player. If I could download the video. I don't know. Or maybe let's see what YouTube or Facebook does if I post it on Facebook. Maybe they will put me in jail. What? Okay, let's see here. We can also push. Oh yeah, on the Christian channel, just so they know. Oh, that's okay. Apparently we, again this copy paste. Oh, there we go. I think I found the whole thing actually. Last time I looked for it, I could only find a piece of it. So yeah. Let's see here. Don't be deceived. Let's see it from right here. There we go. So people can see what Mohammedanism is really about. Also had the videos of the Mohammedans where they chopped off the head of the of a two Danish women. I feel, oh no, one Danish woman and I don't know if I have those videos anymore. I did have them. Not sure if I. But yeah, it's because they just wanted to do some jihad, you know. So let's go out and find some civilians and chop the head off them, right? Yeah. Anyway, they censored that video on many levels as well, but I guess one should be able to find it if one look around after it again. So, anyway, why would you have such an, it's just I was banned from Facebook for posting that as well some years ago. Um, oh, but yeah, so but because people need to see it, I think, because people don't understand, and because people don't understand the danger of Mohammedanism, they just send their children into the world, because peace and love and harmony and all that, right? And then all of a sudden they don't have any head. Um, you know, it's just so yeah. Anyway, I don't know if this I maybe I should send it to Eyal as well. But he probably already know. Mostly when you are in Israel, you know that the Jews know, and you don't understand what is going on. You get directly into the thing by being in Israel, so there's not really any question when you can. Yeah, and when you get when you have stones thrown at you, although stones, like, that's a minor thing, right? But, haven't didn't even do anything and all that, and all of a sudden you just have stones thrown at you. It's kind of an experience for sure. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just sick and tired of the lies and the deceptions and all that. So yeah, so I don't know. We posted this. I probably maybe I get a maybe I'm going to be put into Facebook jail for posting it or something like that. You never know. Um, but it's just nice to see. It's one of their own videos, right? It's nothing to It's just to show the some of the real face of this madness. So was another video. Actually, there we go. Let's see, Frihed. I think this one. Let's try to put this one in. Okay. Go. Let's put that up. So there we go. There's a lot of Mohammedans in the so-called truth movement and all that, and yeah, and you get kicked out again. There just need to be a few people that pretty much end up controlling things and all that, and then you get kicked out of these and all that. So okay, maybe I should also write in regards of things like standard things, right? Okay, let's see here. Um, they do not believe, or maybe they do not believe. They do not. I guess we'll just do not. Sounds a little bit. Do not believe that Jesus was executed on the tree. Thereby, he did not die for the sins of the world. Thereby, he did not die for the sins. They do not believe that he was resurrected from the dead. This is Mohammedanism. By the way, Muhammad at 54 years old had sex with Aisha, with the little girl, 9-year little girl Aisha. Aisha. Mohammedanism is clear, stinking Satanism. Still clear, stinking Satanism. Great. There we go. Let's copy that. Let's save. Get the information out to people. There we go. The facts on the table. Any Mohammedan is this disgusting, it's just disgusting. Anyone following Muhammad is just absolutely, it's absolutely disgusting. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. We copy that as well. But yeah, I guess the melody was okay. Just the words was kind of disgusting. Oh wait, I think I found the guy in regards to, let's see here. No, that's something else with the poop. I did see him in regards to this, showing himself to be the man of peace and all that. Of course, that it's the whole system that is just absolutely. So anyway, see here. Don't be deceived by Mohammedanism. They do not believe Jesus is God's son. They do not believe Jesus is God Almighty. They do not believe that Jesus was executed on a tree. Thereby, he did not die for the sins of the world. They do not. Oh, there's a mistake there. Oh my! I just posted it multiple times. Well, it's a minor mistake, but anyway, they do not believe that he was executed, and he should have been in like cap, so that he was resurrected from the dead. Apparently, there's an issue here. Maybe is too much. Resurrected from the dead. Apparently, that's not either right. Okay, resurrected. Okay, apparently 2 hours. With the 9-year little girl Aisha. Mohammedanism is clear, stinking Satanism. There we go. I think we pretty much got that. Let's see here. Is there anyone? Oh, that was something else. This is. Okay, let's give, maybe I'm a little, apparently one university bullshit. I see here. Till, There we go. Let's just give her all the thing, Oh, yeah. Might be a little too neat. Maybe it's not the direction. Just sick and tired of it. Maybe I'm a little too rough. So it's like, well, I'm just sick and tired of people like, oh, are you first finding out this now? And blah, 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 blah. Okay. With that, here is the tweets. There we go. Shaming, typical, woman shaming. Kvinde. Hvad hedder shaming in Danish? Shaming in Danish. Shaming in Danish or English Danish. Aha. Husk coming like. Nej. Skam is killing. There we go. I guess it's not so nice. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. I'm just sick and tired of it. Killing a little bit. There we go. Anyway, 63 people gave it a thumbs up, so it seems to have helped someone. And then you have these people who just want to bullshit around and all that, and try to shame you and this and that and all that. But we can go the other way around as well. I guess I shouldn't do that, but yeah, I'm sick and tired of this. Oh, we have the images here. Let's see here. I found the guy apparently. Let's see if we can find. So yeah, so that's pretty much what you are up against in regards to Mohammedanism. Of course, Mohammedanism is just clear stinking depravity, so it really shouldn't be that difficult. But yeah. Of course, things of other. Yeah. Anyway, let's see here. Thinking. Go. So yeah, it's not really up to further debate. Really, not a single person is on my live streams. I guess it's just not. Oh, yeah. So far, so good. Let's see here. I don't know if I actually have the DPA link. Yeah. Let's see if I... No, that was the picture. See if we can find it. There we go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I guess I don't have much more to say, I guess. Well, I guess there's always further things, and it's always something to do. Just looking for something in regards of um, let's see here. There we go. Mm-hmm. What? I just removed my content. What? Are you kidding me? Facebook removed my I don't get it. The post goes against our community on spam. What are you talking about? Are you kidding me? I just got censored for posting some information. Isn't there any disagreement on this? No. It's like you. It looks like you try to get likes, follows, shares, or video views in a misleading way. What are you talking about? Uh, what the? Oh, it's like see rules. Your post goes against our community standards on spam. Like I have no, I can't even disagree with it. See the rules, information for people, how we made this decision. Our technology found that your content doesn't follow our community standards. As a result, our technology took action. We use the same rules around the world for everyone. Oh yeah, so our technology and teams work in many languages to make sure that our rules are applied consistently. You've got to be kidding me. I don't know. They just try to help people, and your message gets deleted. You get some valuable, real information out to people, and then they censor you. It's a typical thing. You can't, it's just it's a disgusting platform. This Facebook, and you couldn't even, you know. Okay, we'll try. What the? Just got a warning that I need to be, nice and blah 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 blah. Yeah, well, yeah, well, maybe I was a little rough. Let's try to see if I can add an image to this, or if it's going to delete it again. There we go. Oh, wait a minute. Is that the one? Yep. There we go. Let's see if that gets deleted as well. Let's see if it stays up. There we go. And apparently they thought I was a little too rough, but some woman tried to shame and all that, and maybe that's not the real, maybe I should turn the other cheek and all that. Just, these women are just outrageous, many of them, and you just get tired of the whole thing. Some kind of rebellious feminist trying to bullshit around and waste your time and all that. Yeah, might be a little rough. Yeah, well. So what do we have further? Oh, reveal why Israeli soldiers wear chief's hat. No idea. Let's see here, a chief hat.
One of the questions we get asked the most is, why do Israeli soldiers wear those chef hat things on their heads? We thought it was time to shed some light on the most distinctive piece of combat headgear since the Spartan helmet. Contrary to popular belief, the IDF does not have the highest chef to grunt ratio, nor does Israel have a large Smurf population. The mitznefet is about disguising a precision-cut ballistic helmet in the asymmetry of nature. The mitznefet breaks up the shape of a helmet and makes it considerably more difficult to spot from a distance. In a natural landscape, a ballistic helmet's perfectly round dome shape sticks out like a sore thumb, and the less lines an enemy marksman has to attach crosshairs to, the better. The word mitznefet actually comes from the name of the headgear that was worn by the Jewish high priest in the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. The mitznefet first appeared in the IDF in the early 90s. They were originally homemade by soldiers who sewed them from pieces of camouflage netting. After seeing its benefits and its effectiveness in the field, IDF Command decided to adopt the idea and make the mitznefet a standard piece of kit for all IDF ground units. Another great function the mitznefet performs is that it provides soldiers with 360 degrees of shade from the sun in the desert heat. It's like a boonie on steroids, but much better as you simply move the bulk of the mitznefet to whichever side the sun is facing. Since it's made of mil-spec mesh, it also has a good airflow, which is why you'll often see IDF troops wearing them even if they aren't wearing a helmet underneath. The mitznefet is a piece of kit that is authentically Israeli as you get. It's another example of the IDF using their heads to create a simple but highly effective piece of gear. Do you think other militaries around the world should adopt the mitznefet? Leave a comment below. Let us know what unique or weird gear your country's military uses. Make sure to subscribe and like this video for more on Israeli Special Forces and their gear.
Here we have some BBC reporter Rushdie Abulov at the scene of Gaza hospital blast. People are still collecting body parts. Let's see what we have.
People are still collecting body pieces from on the ground. People are still in panic. People are still trying to understand what happened. I was talking to the people are still collecting body pieces from on the ground. People are still in panic. People are still trying to understand what happened. I was talking to the one of the people who witnessed this, what the Palestinians are calling massacre. He said that they were just sitting in the garden peacefully, and suddenly huge explosion rocked this area, and he said we started to collect people from all around Gaza Strip who could arrive to the hospital. They came and they tried to help. He said we collecting bodies, injured people. We evacuated serious injuries using motorcycle. Some of people like evacuated on foot. He said from here to Shifa.
Yeah, well, that wasn't really, okay. So that was, that was, of course, this garden thing, with some trees on both sides, and then you have the car park and all that. I guess they want to call it, yeah. So again, there might have been some people in the area and all that, but again, how do you get 500 people still in that area? It doesn't really, you have the burnout cars. You have you can see the images here, right? You have the crater right there, right? And you have the cars that were pushed over there, right? And burned out cars right here. This is usually the thing you see burning and all that. Then you have, like, I guess this little garden and this little garden and all that. And that was, but yeah, so, but it didn't hit any of the buildings. All the buildings are fine, besides some tiles and all that from the rooftop and all that. But yeah, so it hit there, and you have, but it's like, would that be like 500 people out there? That's the question. Would that be like, is it even, feasible to have 500 people out there? It's like 500 people, I can understand if some people were out there, maybe in the garden and all that at the point. Although wasn't it? I think it was in the night, right? So that it happened. So again, how many was actually out there? So 500. But anyway, it was their own rocket. a misfire of their own rocket. It's something that happens here and there in regards of misfiring and all that. So, um, so here they show the upturned vehicle. So yeah, so that the middle car in the middle of the things were upturned, and you have the place where it hit and all that. So yeah, but 11 cars, 11 burned out cars, And here we go with the crater. You can see the crater here. This is the crater, a little crater here. And you see the upside car over here. So maybe that has been closer to this. So it had been flipped around or something like that. And then these cars over here were pushed, in this direction. And yeah, but 500 people in that area, man. Anyway, I think it was, first and foremost, it was way overblown in regards to how many people got hurt, and secondly, it wasn't an Israeli strike. It was one of their own misfired, and then they just blamed Israel for it and put in the numbers. 500 people, over 500 people. It didn't even hit the building. When they sell they hit the hospital. That's clear stinking lie. It didn't hit the hospital. It didn't hit the building. It hit outside in regards of a parking lot. There was no building that just evaporated or just got grounded to the level. But yeah, I just.
2023, hundreds of Palestinians were killed when the Al Ahli Arab Hospital in Gaza was bombed.
Okay, so the hospital was bombed. Well, the building was not bombed. So
officials in Gaza blame the blast on an Israeli airstrike. The Israeli army denies responsibility and claims the attack was due to a failed rocket launch by the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. They say they used Al Jazeera footage to allegedly confirm these claims.
But you're asking me for proof? You don't need to get proof from me. All you need to do is switch over to Al Jazeera, who broadcasted it live, and you can actually see. I've got a screen caption just for you to see. This is Al Jazeera from last night.
Our digital investigations team, SANAD, decided to investigate
all this. But yeah. So shooting rockets and all that, and one misfire, is again not unusual that there's a misfire. So give me a break, I was sick and tired. Is it further?
by the Al Jazeera live feed.
And then they go into actually. Oh yeah. They fired some rockets and explodes and then they go into bullshit around. This is, and I guess it's probably is from Al Jazeera, which is absolutely rubbish. I think actually one of the reasons why I think I don't follow them any longer. Because they were saying that the rocket that the misfired rocket, right, which apparently didn't misfire, it was intercepted by the what's it called? Can't even remember. It was intercepted by the Israelis. So they just shot the rocket right from the cemetery, right, close to the hospital, and then they say, well, it was intercepted by the, what is it called, the Doom or something like that. I can't even remember the name at the moment. So then they go into further bullshit of, well, it was still Israelis' fault because they intercepted the rocket, and then it's just give me a break with the bullshit. It just continues with. So they promoted some other theories. Yeah, here we can see it explodes, right? It's like it's getting intercepted by the Israeli, what is it, Doom or something like that. What's it called? Israeli, I can't even remember. Israeli Dome Defense, or I can't remember. Iron Dome. Yeah, okay, there we go. Why can't I even remember that? But it was intercepted by the Israeli Iron Dome, and I looked into some things on that. The Iron Dome, at least in the old days, was not close to Gaza because it intercepts the missile. First and foremost, it's very expensive to send a rocket up. I think it was like $15,000 for each rocket. But anyway, they put the Iron Dome where, in regards of the cities, and they, when the missile comes in, they're looking into, is this going to hit, places where there are people or not, so they're fixing the ones that they are going to intercept, and it's on the last thing that they're going to intercept them on the last. They're not in the beginning of the rocket firing, so they figure out in regards to all the data thing and all that, and then the Iron Dome intercepts these. So again, that was just another stinking bullshit that they just fired, and you like think about the response time of the Iron Dome into to like that would be a very quick response time for them to just fire the missile and boom, oh, that's the Iron Dome. Like, oh, we hit the hospital. Oh, it's the Israelis' fault because they argument. It's just one bullshit after another, and
shows that the same rocket was intercepted at exactly 18:59:50.
It was intercepted, they say. Or maybe it just exploded, Maybe it just exploded. Maybe it was actually a malfunction rocket and all that. Again, it was intercepted. And then they point, oh, it was the Israelis that intercepted. So that means it was your own rocket that hit the hospital, but you say it's still Israel's fault because they intercepted it. Yeah, again, it's just, and I think this is from Al Jazeera. Yeah, it is. So they were just spouting more bullshit, and apparently now it seems like Israel want to ban this station for bullshit. Also but the interesting thing again, even if this bullshit, a lot of it, they do show that the rockets are being fired from inside Gaza. So if they accept that rockets are being, it's true that rockets are being fired inside Gaza and all that, we already have that verification. Okay, rockets was fired, so we have a verification from both sides in regards to rockets were fired. We have some video footage of it and all that. One of the rockets explodes in the air, and then we see an explosion down outside the hospital. So, but instead of just saying, oh yeah, it was a misfired rocket, we'll just say, well, it was, the Iron Dome of the Israelis intercepted the rocket just after launch, and then so it's the Israeli fault anyway. It's like this bullshit of propaganda, that think about it. Let's say 500. Let's say over 500 people died in regards to this, and that it was a misfired rocket, right? It's not going to help them in regards to how many people and this and that, because if it was their own fault, But I don't see 500 people in regards to this. But anyway, whatever. It seems to be what they call it, inflated. The number seems to be inflated. Yeah, there are some people hurt. We can see that on images that there clearly are some people that seems to have been hurt, and dead and all that. But 500 people, over 500 people, I kind of, I don't, that just sounds kind of inflated. I think isn't it called inflated? But in any case, but even if it's, it was, it was their own misfired rocket, that did it. So whatever the case, they can't blame Israel for it. They can blame themselves for this, But anyway, I guess they further want to claim that Israel did it. I guess, and this is the back and forward and all that. But it's just interesting, like that, Al Jazeera would, okay, let's just take this, and because they want to try to. But I think while they're actually doing it, they're also supporting a lot of the things that the Israelis are saying, right? So, but anyway, let's take the Al Jazeera. That's like 4 days ago, where they tried to do some damage control and try to still blame the Jews and all that. But anyway, let's see him. So we first see that, maybe
on the 17th of October 2023, hundreds of Palestinians were killed when the Al Ahli Arab Hospital in Gaza was bombed. Officials in Gaza blamed...
again, the building was not bombed, The hospital was not bombed.
Blast. blast on an Israeli airstrike. The Israeli army denies responsibility and claims the attack was due to a failed rocket launch by the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. They say they used Al Jazeera footage to allegedly confirm these claims.
But you're asking me for proof? You don't need to get proof from me. All you need to do is switch over to Al Jazeera, who broadcasted it live, and you can actually see. I got a screen caption just for you to see. This is Al Jazeera from last night.
Our digital investigations team, SANAD, decided to investigate these claims and conducted an in-depth analysis of this Al Jazeera video, along with several other videos from multiple...
Oh, there we go. Can you see all the rockets being fired? Whoa, and one of them explodes. Oh my. Oh, so you're saying that we have verification that they were shooting rockets? Oh yeah, they were shooting rockets.
sources and established a...
Were they shooting rockets from the graveyard? Maybe that would collaborate the talk. But of course they want to further say no, that's not good enough and all that.
Detailed second by second.
So you can see you have the rockets being fired. So
timeline of the events by analyzing Al Jazeera's live stream starting at 1845.
Yeah.
The team was able to identify 4 Israeli airstrikes on
we're going to blame Israel again, right? So we have to, fix
Gaza, targeting the area near the hospital, starting at 1854-28, then 1855-03, then 1857-42, and then 1858-04. That's military time for just before 7 p.m. local. The team cross-referenced this video with another captured by a camera situated south of Tel Aviv.
Give me a break with the camera here. It's just incredible how bad it is, There we go. Maybe it's better with the other one. I don't know. See, open camera. No, let's open camera. Let's try the other one. This is disgusting mobile, but anyway. Yeah, the quality is at this. Oh yeah, there's something about it actually not turning around because this is a crap mobile, right? So, oh wait, maybe I can do like, no. Wasn't there like a preview mode in regards of? I guess it is already. Oh well, anyway.
Showing a wide view of the Gaza Strip. That video shows a series of rocket launches from Gaza.
Oh, so they're shooting rockets at Israel?
That video clearly shows how the Iron Dome intercepted.
It clearly shows that the Iron Dome intercepted a missile. Like the Iron Dome, which is shooting at rockets that has just been fired. It just sounds ridiculous. Absolutely. If you listen to how the Iron Dome are working and all that, this just doesn't sound like, like feasible.
These rockets going back to the...
So now they accept that, oh yeah, the explosion actually was from a rocket from inside of Gaza. But it was the Israelis that shut it down inside Gaza.
Al Jazeera live feed at 18:59:35. We can see a single rocket launched from Gaza. This is the rocket in question. This rocket can also be seen on the Israeli video. 15 seconds later, Al Jazeera's live feed shows that the same rocket was intercepted at exactly 18:59:50. This interception has the same afterglow seen in previous interceptions. A closer look at the video captured by the Al Jazeera live feed shows the rocket being completely destroyed and broken apart in the sky. According to all feeds and videos analyzed, this rocket was intercepted and was the last one launched from Gaza before...
Yeah, it's just continual bullshit of this and that and all that, and you just get tedious, So again, now at that point, 4 days ago, they wanted to blame that. Oh yeah, okay, it was a missile that was shot from Gaza, but it was intercepted by it's just showing huge amount of confusion, and of course that's the point.
The bombing of the hospital. 5 seconds after that interception, an explosion in Gaza can be seen, followed 2 seconds later by a much larger explosion. This is the strike that hit Al Ahli Arab Hospital.
No, it hit the outside of the Al Ahli Arab Hospital.
As a result, Al Jazeera digital investigations team found no grounds to the Israeli army claim that the strike on the Al Ahli Arab Hospital in Gaza was caused by a failed rocket launch.
Yeah, so that's what they say. Apparently, Israel, wanna ban, this news station from Israel. They sure do sow a lot of bullshit. First, but we were going just to say, well, it was intercepted, and so it's like you have something on the sky, right? It explodes. So we have some rocket firing, right? And have some rocket firing, right? Is that like a boogie or? Anyway, so we have some rocket firing, right? And boom, one of them explodes, and just around 5 seconds later, somewhat of that, boom at the, at next to the hospital. Yeah, I guess it couldn't have anything to do with each other. It has to be, it just has to be something. Getting just coincidence. Of course, we can't accept that the coincidences are connected in any way. Like someone writes here, Iron Dome does not intercept missiles during or shortly after the booster acceleration phase. It only intercepts during the later stage of their ballistic trajectory if they are deemed to pose enough of a threat. Yeah. So again, saying something of that, nature of bullshit, that, oh yeah, the missile was surely intercepted. You just fired the rocket, and you're saying that it was intercepted just after it was fired, and as he says it, in its initial booster acceleration phase, so there were hundreds of deaths in airstrike. Israel denies it attacked Gaza. That's like 6 days ago. But yeah, it's like they show images of outside. Although we did see some other images that at least showed something in regards of of some people having been so at least but 500 people, that's another thing, right? 500 people. Okay. Okay, I'll have to look into that. There's not much help from much help from the bank system and all that. And then when you have all the bullshitters around in regards of trying to mislead you on things and this and that, you just get tedious. Clearly there's an agenda to mislead people and all that. But at least 63 have given it a thumbs up, so at least some people have seen it, and that's good. That's what we want. Of course, the information just needs to spread out to further help them. Okay, anyway, because it's like nearly impossible to talk to these, in regards to the banking system, and they want one direction and all that. But anyway, I had this this guy, let's see here, because he was talking about that they want to ban Al Jazeera. Although I don't promote censorship, but I can see that they're bullshitting around, and I've also seen where they seemingly take the side of Hamas, even if they but you can hear it in the wordings and all that. But anyway,
strike it, and then
they don't seem to be neutral. Let me say it like that. And of course, videos from past in regards to where they were interviewing the the later prime minister that is not prime minister anymore. They were clearly for they were clearly against the Jews, but he handled it pretty good in regards to that interview. That's 6 years ago. I thought he was pretty good, but sadly, when he became prime minister, he was like utter bullshit. But I guess he's probably controlled as so many others. So
Hamas, obviously, we know that they have been holding those people back and trying to make it so civilians actually get hit. Guys, I want to read a story that is actually sent to me here in Israel from a friend. Here in Israel, it was a miracle story from one of these soldiers who went down to the Gaza border and fought in one of these communities that was taken over by terrorists. Incredible story here, and I received this from a friend here in Israel. It goes like this. It's been a couple of weeks, but I have some time now, and I want to write about a Ness. A Ness is a miracle that happened to me during those first few days of hell. My unit was called in on Shabbat morning. No Tzav 8, no Ishurim, no official order, nothing. Our brigade commander saw that the South needed a battalion to respond ASAP, and he told us to come. 4 hours later, we got on Humvees and headed straight to Kfar Aza, one of the communities down by Gaza. Our weapons had been handed to us on the spot. We had never shot them, didn't even have time to clean them. We had no idea if they worked, and the sights definitely were not zeroed in. The weapons in the reserve units are notorious for being unreliable and usually don't even shoot properly before a good clean, or in some cases, a visit to the armory. That's how we went into combat. We walked into the Yeshuv, the community, and were engaged by terrorists within the first few minutes of walking. A few minutes later, we encountered one hiding in a bush with an AK-47, waiting to ambush us. My rifle worked perfectly, firing every shot, cycling every round, hitting what I was aiming at. Not one single jam. I thanked Hashem for giving me a rifle that worked right off the bat. After 3 days of fighting, I had learned to rely on my rifle completely. On Tuesday night, we finished clearing Kfar Aza, were switched out by another battalion, and were sent up to a base so we could rest, shower, and finally clean and check our weapons. We went to the range. Immediately I got a jam. Another round, another jam, and another. They were getting worse. I had to start taking out my pliers on my utility knife to clear them. We ended up having to take it to the armory so they could switch out all the internal parts to basically rebuild it from the inside. Guys, the gun just didn't work. It was a broken rifle. It was broken from the moment it was handed to me on Shabbat morning, but for me, in those few days in Kfar Aza, it had worked to perfection, so we could do what we needed to do. I heard similar stories from many other soldiers in our battalion. I can look forward to the day where I can stand in my shul, in my synagogue, on Shabbat, and recite Birkat HaGomel for this miracle and the countless others that Hashem has performed for us. I thought that story was incredible. One of the soldiers who was illustrating that miraculously his gun, he was given a broken gun to go in and fight these terrorists because it was so last minute they didn't have time to prepare, and this gun worked perfectly. He was able to take out many terrorists and save many Jewish lives, and then he took it to the range. And it was indeed a broken gun. Guys, stories like this are coming out all over from soldiers and civilians who fought against these guys in the first couple days. And these guys were fighting for 3 days in these communities, fighting these terrorists to root them out. Can't imagine what that was like. But guys, miracle stories like this are incredible. We thank God for preserving life and for making these weapons work well so that these soldiers could go in and take care of business. All right, guys. Last good news for the day. I've got to close out the show here in a few minutes, but Al Jazeera, and we kind of like to call them our arch nemesis here because they're the biggest anti-Israel propaganda. Really what they are is a propaganda news channel. Here it is, they're Qatar funded by the Qatar government. They are now about to be shut down, it looks like, here
who's the Qatar? The Qatar government, but yeah, they are absolutely, I do have seen a good amount of let's see, Qatar country. Okay, it's a country. So there. Let's see here. Okay, we have a map here. Qatar has a little bit. Okay, so Saudi Arabia, just next to Saudi Arabia, just a very, very small place, if that's the thing. It's close to the United Arab Emirates. So a very small place, apparently. Okay. Oh, the clock ticks, clock ticks, and a lot of things goes on.
In Israel, due to
Let's just let it go a little back.
for the day, I've got to close out the show here in a few minutes, but Al Jazeera, and we kind of like to call them our arch nemesis here because they're the biggest anti-Israel propaganda. Really, what they are is a propaganda news channel. Here it is. They're Qatar funded by the Qatar government. They are now about to be shut down. It looks like here in Israel, due to national security threats from Al Jazeera. Israel's government actually approved regulations that would allow Israel to shut down the Al Jazeera network. Why? According to the communications minister Shlomo Kari, who led the charge to pass these regulations, Al Jazeera has damaged national security since the war began, doing things like, what are they doing? They're reporting on where IDF troops are positioned, where IDF movements are going on the Gaza border, and I believe other places in Israel. And actually, some of the intelligence agencies have also put out complaints to the government saying they need to shut Al Jazeera down because it's becoming a national security threat. According to Karki's office, a proposal to shut down Al Jazeera will be brought to the next meeting of the Security Cabinet, which must approve that request. So hopefully that request gets approved because not just the national security threat of reporting on IDF positions and things like that, which is the no-brainer reason for going ahead and shutting Al Jazeera down. Al Jazeera has basically been a pro-terror, pro-Hamas, just anti-Israel propaganda
Pro-Palestinian, pro-Palestinian. Again, I have this video from like 6
channel for
years
so long, and it's actually called
go from them. But the wonderful thing is that even if it's like pro-Palestinian, and it's pretty clear that that the interviewer in that interview was very, very, very pro. Maybe it's on the mobile. I can't remember. But it was a pretty good. See if I can find it. A pretty good interview, I think. Let me see if I can find it. See if I had it maybe here. Israel, Iran, execution Bible. Is this the final sign? Now, maybe I've closed it down or anything like I don't know. Okay, well, that's a good question. Did I post it on my Gap profile? I don't think so. But yeah, I had it someplace on somewhere. Again, too many things. Apparently we're into the clicking game on things, There we go. No. Well, anyway, the video is somewhere, and I was pretty. Well, I should be able to actually. I guess I saw it with the account open, like you see here. Let's open that. Way too many open. Can I see here? History. Okay, see here we have. There we go. I found it. There we go. I think he did pretty good before he became a prime minister and all that. We'll just.
Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, but that was actually Al Jazeera, and let's put it on Gap. But yeah, the Jews will never give up. Okay, let's see here. We can find it on Gap, I guess. Gap. Oh, yeah. There we go. That is. I'll just let this run, and is this a new one? I don't know. Anyway, it's going. Come on. So this is a Al Jazeera thing.
Naftali Bennett, thanks for joining me on Upfront. You said the election of Donald Trump is an opportunity for Israel because the era of a Palestinian state is over. President Trump said last week he doesn't mind the idea of a one-state rather than a two-state solution. Is that your view too?
Well, there already exist two states for the Palestinians. One in Gaza, a full-blown state run by Hamas, and the other is Jordan, where 70% of the citizens are indeed Palestinians. So the discussion is whether we need a third Palestinian state smack in the heart of Israel, and the answer is no. We need to strengthen Israel and create regional peace based on a common interest, which is to fight against radical Iran, which is out to create a hegemony in the region.
Well, of course, no one in the world agrees with you that Gaza and Jordan are Palestinian states. In fact, the United Nations says Gaza is still officially occupied by Israel. But let's just focus on this one state that does exist right now in that area, specifically the state of Israel, which you're a minister of, representative of. Isn't the real question that if there is just one state left standing in that particular patch of land, should it be a state in which Jews and Palestinians live side by side as equal citizens, or should it be a state in which Jewish citizens are privileged over Palestinian citizens, while millions of other Palestinians remain under occupation without a right to self-determination?
Well, first of all, I beg to differ. In Gaza, we did everything by the book. We pulled back to the 67 lines, pulled out our military, pulled out and expelled our people, and handed it over to Abu Mazen. They today have a state there. They decided to shoot tens of thousands of rockets on Israelis, and we fight back. Israel will not tolerate terror states. Likewise in Jordan, 70% of Jordanians, while you dispute that, that's a fact, or you don't like it, but that's a fact. Regarding Israel, Israel is perhaps the only true democracy in the Middle East where we have about 1.8 million Arabs, including Supreme Court justice, including 13 Arab members of Knesset. I don't see any Jewish members of Knesset in any Arab Muslim countries. So
just on that point,
Israel, we have a full, vibrant democracy in which
on the democratic point, Israel is a democracy, of course, for some people. Of course, Israel also rules over 3 million Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. For 40 years, you've ruled over millions of people who have no vote whatsoever to control their lives. How are you democratic when you're not giving them a vote? And I believe your plan now is to annex a chunk of the West Bank, I think 60% of the West Bank. That's how you want to supposedly end the conflict. And yet you'll leave millions of people again without a state, without self-determination, without a government of their own, without nationhood.
You should do your homework. We've been there 50 years, not 40 years. They do vote. They vote for the Palestinian parliament. They voted in 2006. Abu Mazen decided not to hold more elections. You should probably ask him about democracy and how democracy should be. But they have their own flag, their own anthem. Yes, it's less than a state because we're not about to commit suicide. but they do have self-determination. Not everyone in the world who wants a state gets one. The Kurds, for example, don't have a state. They want one. The Basques want a state. They don't have one. The Palestinians have 2 states. They will not get a third one in the heart of our country.
You're right about that. It is coming up to a much longer period. It's the longest military occupation in the world. Thanks for reminding me of that. In terms of peace plans, you've said on record, quote, just wishing a plan doesn't make it real. But isn't that exactly what you do when you wish for a solution? 60% of the West Bank annexed by Israel in violation of international law. That's wishing a plan that will never happen. The Palestinians will never agree to that. They haven't agreed to occupation all these decades. They've been resisting occupation all these decades. Why would they change now, especially when Israel is increasingly isolated on the issue of occupation?
You've got a mistake. We're not isolated at all. Israel's commerce and export has tripled itself over the past 12 years. BDS started in 2005, the supposed BDS. We've tripled our commerce. We've got a 6% growth, the biggest high-tech in the world.
15
after
countries
Silicon
in the Security
Valley.
Council
So
just passed a resolution. 14 of them voted against you, and America abstained. Not a single country voted with you. The EU, the UN, the Russians, the Chinese, the US, they all view this as an illegal occupation and illegal settlement. You are completely isolated on the issue of occupation and settlement. You know that, Nafta.
No, quite the contrary. I think we've had endless Security Council resolutions against Israel, but Israel continues to be the strongest and growing force in the Middle East. If I were the Arabs, I'd focus on finding a way to work together with Israel against Iran, Hezbollah, who seem to be taking over much of the Middle East. If the Arab countries, the Sunnite countries, don't want to be butchered by their Shiite neighbor, they ought to cooperate with us. This is a mutual interest. Okay. We need to work together against the big menace. We're not about, let me be very clear there.
Hold on.
We are not going to give up our tiny piece of land. It's not going to happen, so get on with it.
Okay, so rather than play kind of divide and rule where you turn Sunnis against Shias and vice versa, let me ask you about what Israel is doing. I had senior spokesman for Hamas, Osama Hamdan, on this show a few weeks ago, and he actually said that basically his organization will be willing to live with a Palestinian state in the West Bank alongside Israel. You say a flat no to that, which means you're basically more uncompromising now, more extreme than Hamas is. The Israeli government has a more extreme position than Hamas. Wow.
Well, Hamas has proven what happens when we give even a centimeter of land to Arabs. They shoot missiles at us. We left Gaza. We handed it over to Abu Mazen.
You didn't leave Gaza.
Hamas took
Come on.
over.
You control the airspace. You control the
we
territorial waters. You control the borders. You control the population register. Is that what you call leaving?
Absolutely not. Again, you need to do your homework. We left. The moment they started shooting rockets at us in the Israeli military as a major in a commando unit, I lost friends. There's no one wants peace more than me, but peace will be achieved by strength, not by carving out our tiny country and handing it over to our enemies.
You're not carving out your own country. You're withdrawing from occupied territories, which everyone in the world, including Israel's own Supreme Court, regards as occupied territory. That's the problem. You can't carve out stuff that's not your own.
Mahdi, I guess what you need to do is go back and change the Bible. You need to change the narrative of the Bible because it's all there.
And
I assume
is Israel a
all
theocracy?
Muslims,
Christians,
and Jews,
is it a religious state?
I assume.
Why are you quoting the Bible to me? I'm quoting the Supreme
Christians,
Court
Muslims,
of
and
your
Jews.
country. Hold on, the Supreme Court of your country.
Let me finish.
Let me just put the quote of the Supreme Court to you, and then you respond.
You're finding
the Judea and Samaria areas are held by the state of Israel in belligerent occupation. That is the view of the Supreme Court of your country. Are you saying the Bible trumps your Supreme Court? Is Israel now a theocracy?
Let me finish. Billions of Muslims and Christians believe in the Bible. I assume, including yourself, I don't know. If you want to say that our land does not belong to us, I suggest you go change the Bible first, come back, and then show me a new Bible that says that the land of Israel doesn't belong to Jews.
Okay, so
if it's very convenient for you to sort of shove that away, that's fine.
I'm not shoving anyway. You've made your religious education point.
You're right.
Yeah. Go on.
Okay, thank you. Regarding the Supreme Court in Israel, that's a political decision. It's true that in 1967, we released Judea and Samaria from an occupied status of Jordan. Jordan never owned Judea and Samaria. And Mahdi, I don't know if you know, but there never was a Palestinian state. So you can't occupy something that never was a state.
With respect,
it was held.
I'm quoting
by
the Supreme Court
British,
of your country,
and we and today.
And it's not a political decision.
And what the Supreme Court of our country is saying,
a Supreme Court gives a decision. It's not a political decision. It's a judicial decision, unless they're so-called judges in your view, as Donald Trump views judges. Maybe that's how you view judges.
The Supreme Court is waiting for the government of Israel to decide what is the future. And today, the areas are disputed areas. I understand that the Palestinians want a third Palestinian state in the heart of our country. We need to make a decision, and my decision is very clear. That land is ours, and no one can occupy his own home. The land of Israel has always been Jewish for thousands of years, will always be Jewish. We will enjoy and host within our country millions of Arabs, 1.8 million Arabs that enjoy full citizenship. But it is a Jewish and democratic country. I want to point out, though, Mahdi, one more point.
Okay, very briefly.
Hold on.
Very briefly.
Hold on. One more point. There's apartheid, and very severe apartheid, going on in Lebanon and Syria for 50 years, actually for 68 years. The descendants of Palestinian refugees from 1948 have no status there. They're not citizens. They're not even residents. They can't work in the government. Can't become lawyers.
When
can't
members
buy
of those governments
a piece of land.
come on this show,
I would expect.
I asked questions of those governments. You're representing Israel. If you really want to talk about apartheid, you know very well that leading South Africans like Desmond Tutu have accused Israel of practicing apartheid. You know that. You brought up the A word, the apartheid word. Desmond Tutu has said when he went to the West Bank, it reminded him of apartheid South Africa. You know that.
I would suggest that we join forces, the Arab world and Israel, to solve the Palestinian refugee problem in the place they live already, in Lebanon, in Syria, in Jordan,
them a right to
all
return.
across the Arab.
Let me ask you this.
And let me point out one more thing, because you seem to be, hold on, no, you mentioned it, I'll point this.
I'll take that again.
Have no status there. They're not citizens. They're not even residents. They can't work in the government. Can't become lawyers.
When members
can't buy
of those governments
a piece of land.
come on this show,
I would expect.
I asked questions of those governments. You're representing Israel. If you really want to talk about apartheid, you know very well that leading South Africans like Desmond Tutu have accused Israel of practicing apartheid. You know that. You brought up the A word, the apartheid word. Desmond Tutu has said when he went to the West Bank, it reminded him of apartheid South Africa. You know that.
I would suggest that we join forces, the Arab world and Israel, to solve the Palestinian refugee problem in the place they live already, in Lebanon, in Syria, in Jordan,
them a right to
all
return.
across the Arab.
Let me ask you this.
And let me point out one more thing, because you seem to be, hold on, no, you mentioned it, I'll point this out. In the 1948 war, 650,000 Jews were kicked out of the Arab countries. But we don't go on whining for 68 years. That we took them into Israel, gave them citizenship.
So Palestinians
Why
under
can't
occupation
the Arabs,
are whining?
once and for all, take care of their own brothers and sisters? We, the Jews, did it. And we're not looking back 68 years. We solved the problem.
But Palestinians,
I would challenge the Arab rulers.
Naftali,
why don't you take care of the problem?
Okay, that's a good point. You make that point to them. Let me ask you about the actual Palestinians who are living under occupation according to international law and the Israeli Supreme Court. Many would say that you're not a fan of the Palestinians, you're driven by animus towards them. They would point to a quote you made in 2010 to a Palestinian member of the Israeli parliament. You said, when you were still climbing trees, we had a Jewish state here. Isn't that racism, pure and simple, to compare Palestinians to monkeys in trees?
No one is comparing anything. I just do want to be clear that this has been our land for roughly 3,800 years before Islam came to the world. I think that we can achieve peace.
Were Palestinians climbing trees 3,800 years ago?
We respect you, and we respect the Muslim world. We expect, and we don't suggest to divide Mecca or divide Amman, and you should not expect that we divide Jerusalem. It's just not going to happen.
Were Palestinians climbing trees 3,800 years ago, just to clarify your remark?
No, they weren't, but I see
it's a pretty
great
racist
deal of disrespect. We have our capital of Jerusalem. I see you're very feisty today, and that's okay. You're doing your job. But the way to achieve long-standing peace is to respect each other. I respect our neighbors. The moment they lay down their arms, there will be peace in the Middle East.
One final question before we finish. Do you ever put yourself in the position of a Palestinian? You say you respect Palestinians, suffering on the ground in the West Bank today. Because Ehud Barak, former Israeli prime minister, once famously said that if he'd been born a Palestinian, he would have joined a Palestinian militant group. Surely you can get that. Surely if you had been born a Palestinian and seen your land, your home, your parents, grandparents' home, lived there for decades, being taken away from you against your will to build a settlement, surely you'd be angry about that. Surely you'd see that as an injustice. Do you ever put yourself in their position and see that point of view?
Beyond the endless bunch of lies that you just stated, I would just say that most of the Arab Muslim world can only envy the status of the Palestinians and the Israeli Arabs.
I wasn't talking about Israeli Arabs. I was talking about Palestinians in the West Bank.
World.
Can you put yourself in the position of a Palestinian in the West Bank who has his home taken from him? Just a simple question. Just non-politics aside, religion aside, as a human being, can you see how it would make you feel if you had been born a Palestinian in a village in the West Bank and lost your home? It's a very simple question.
So give me, I challenge you now and after the program, give me the name of one Palestinian who was living in a home and had his home taken away from him. That is a flat lie. I challenge you.
There have been hundreds of evictions of families in last year alone.
I want to know whose home.
Last year alone, there have been hundreds of evictions of
only
Palestinians.
Only in illegal building. Also in Israel, if you build illegally, you take your home away.
Naftali Bennett, your government just passed a law to retroactively legalize land.
Give me a name.
Why did you pass a law to retroactively legalize land you took from the Palestinians?
Don't get all worked up. I'm asking, just give me a name of one family where Jews came and got into their house. That happened in Morocco. It happened in Libya. It happened in Egypt.
We've run out of time. You have no empathy for Palestinians suffering in the West Bank. You have no empathy for Palestinians suffering in the West Bank.
I have a lot of empathy. No. Quite the contrary. I have a lot of empathy. I live side by side with the Palestinians. No one's going anywhere. We're here to stay. They're here to stay. We have to find a way to live together. It's not going to be, though, Mahdi, by coming up with lies. It's going to be by mutual respect. We'll find a way to make peace. It's going to happen.
Naftali Bennett, thanks for joining me on Upfront.
That's at least sounded somewhat anti-Jewish, right? I think he did pretty good in regards to. I think he did actually pretty nicely, even if he was attacked in regards to this and that and all that. So, anyway, let's see here. Iran excuses Biden of hypocrisy. What's that about? However, I probably have seen that already.
Iran's foreign minister is accusing the White House of hypocrisy.
Today, the region is a powder keg. The US security establishment is directing the war in occupied Palestine. The Zionist regime is suffering internal collapse. I talked to Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov, and we are consulting with China as well.
So the Zion regime is, getting collapsed. Are you kidding me? I ain't kidding. What's that other bullshit? Yeah. Anyway.
That a resolution against the interests of Palestinians will not be adopted at the UN Security Council. Palestinian resistance groups say they're ready for a long military conflict. They said Israel targets civilians, including women and children. The US has sent messages to Lebanon's Hezbollah asking not to open a new front in the conflict. We've received messages asking us to practice restraint and also asked us to invite others to show restraint, but the US over the past 2 weeks has been sending military equipment to Israel. So how can they say they don't want the expansion of war? Now I'm saying to Biden, stop your hypocrisy.
Dorsa Jabari's got more from the Iranian capital.
Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian made it very clear that he's been making all kinds of efforts on the diplomatic front to try and de-escalate the situation, but also bring some kind of resolution to the humanitarian crisis that is unfolding in Gaza. The Iranian Foreign Minister said he's spoken to the leader of Hamas as well as Islamic Jihad
over the past 24 hours, during which the men discussed the ongoing conflict, and the two Palestinian men made it very clear that they understand this could be a long haul, this conflict, and they are ready for the long fight. The Iranian foreign minister also, for the first time, said that Iran has been receiving messages through a third party from the United States urging the Iranians to show restraint, as well as to exert their influence on the various groups in the region for them not to escalate the situation. But the foreign minister made it very clear that these groups are independent of Iran and they act of their own volition. He also said that the hypocrisy that the United States has displayed has never been more evident. He said they're talking about us showing self-restraint when they themselves have been supplying weapons for the past 2 weeks to Israel and also moving their warships closer in this region. He had the following message for U.S. President Joe Biden. Hossein Amir Abdullahian says, how can you say that you don't want an expansion of this war? And now I'm saying to Biden, stop your hypocrisy. Those words from the foreign minister. He also said that he's been meeting with the Russian foreign minister here in Tehran, Sergei Lavrov, during which the meetings he talked about China as well as Russia using their veto power at the Security Council to prevent the United States from passing through any kind of a Security Council resolution on the ongoing war in Gaza. Dorsa Jabari, Al Jazeera, Tehran.
So censored, and someone wrote something here. No. Ja, så. Et godt spørgsmål. Så. Sorry. Let's go. Let's go. It's just been... Det der noget. Ja, det vi bliver... Come on. Yeah, that's a problem.
Iran's foreign minister is accusing the White House of hypocrisy.
Today, the region is a powder keg. The US security establishment is directing the war in occupied Palestine. The Zionist regime is suffering internal collapse. I talked to Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov, and we are consulting with China as well, that a resolution against the interests of Palestinians will not be adopted at the UN Security Council. Palestinian resistance groups say they're ready for a long military conflict. They said Israel targets civilians, including women and children. The US has sent messages to Lebanon's Hezbollah asking not to open a new front in the conflict.
We have that one. We pretty much have posted that. Gut-wrenching calls for... I don't know what that is. Let's try that out.
Now to the horrors committed by Hamas against innocent Israelis just over a fortnight ago. And of course, I've got to warn you, some of this stuff is distressing even just to talk about. More than 1,400 people were killed. More than 200 are still held hostage. And yet the world has tended to move on, more intent now on criticising Israel for the way it's trying to root out the Hamas Islamist terrorists. Now, I showed you last night how the Israeli government had organised to show journalists some raw videos showing what happened in southern Israel because it was needed to thwart the constant denial. Remember, one ABC journalist said it was BS that babies had been beheaded. At a Sydney beach this morning, actually, I noticed posters showing some of the hostages still missing, a little attempt to keep our focus on them, as we should. But have a look at what happened to similar posters on a Melbourne beach, defaced with graffiti, effectively denying the atrocities, pretending it's all made up. It's this anti-Semitic denial that needs to be countered and explains why the Israeli government decided to show videos to the journalists last night. Now, I've got to say, I've seen a lot of terrible vision publicly available and authentic, and it is truly gut-wrenching. But what the journalists were shown in Israel overnight, well, we're told it's truly atrocious. Here's some of their reaction.
I beg the Israeli government, please release the footages. Release what I saw. The world needs to see this.
We saw...
Yeah, I agree. Release the footages. So everybody can see what, because, yeah.
Oh, I don't even know...
Go a little back.
Effectively denying the atrocities, pretending it's all made up. It's this anti-Semitic denial that needs to be countered and explains why the Israeli government decided to show videos to the journalists last night. Now, I've got to say, I've seen a lot of terrible vision publicly available and authentic, and it is truly gut-wrenching. But what the journalists were shown in Israel overnight, well, we're told it's truly atrocious. Here's some of their reaction.
I beg the Israeli government, please release the footages. Release what I saw. The world needs to see this.
We saw, I don't even know, I had to leave after 35 minutes because eventually I had seen enough. It's just sickening, isn't it? You've heard the story.
The same thing in regards to if you go to Yad Vashem in regards to the Holocaust and all that. You get into, yeah.
As you know what was happening, what happened in those parts of southern Israel when the Hamas terrorists incurred there from Gaza, and these journalists have sat through it and seen it to verify it, to be the eyes and ears of the world effectively. We can't really show you the journalists even describing the worst of what they saw. It's just too horrific to relay that stuff. These are the most vile, hateful and gross acts of terrorism you could ever imagine. They're carried out against innocent, unarmed civilians, including children, teenagers, mothers and grandmothers. But the way this stuff is glossed over is just appalling. For instance, the ABC, our own taxpayer-funded media, interviewed a Hamas leader.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
How did it help your cause to send thousands of your fighters over the border into Israel to murder, terrorize and kidnap Israeli civilians?
I think...
Now, I'm not going to show you what this bloke said. He's the leader of an Islamist extremist terrorist group that's just killed 1,400 people. And who cares about his cause? His cause is the elimination of Jewish people and Israel. He doesn't have a legitimate cause. He should be in jail, not spreading his lies here or on taxpayer-funded TV. I mean, he told the ABC that Hamas were actually only out fighting against Israeli soldiers and wanted to take soldiers as hostages. The civilians, he suggested that was all an accident. This is a blatant lie. We've got the footage of them shooting kids at a music festival, shooting families and children in their homes, shooting families in cars trying to escape, taking hostages at gunpoint, innocent girls, dropping grenades into bomb shelters where people were trying to get away from them. People don't need to hear the lies from Hamas, no matter if some ABC journo challenges them occasionally. This stuff is vile, and the ABC should not broadcast their lies. But today they remain unapologetic.
Do you stand by that editorial decision?
I do, Senator. I didn't know it in advance, but I do stand by it. I think that I do think it's editorially justified to make that interview. We interviewed a range of people post those attacks. Certainly those people that represented Israel to begin with.
Yeah, of course it's okay to make an interview, right? That's the whole point of to have some interviews, and then people should be able to decide for themselves in regards of what comes forward, right? Of course, we don't need to hide the facts. If I reckon. Mm-hmm. So that's a support group. Hello, Bible. Zion. Come on. Hello. Take its time. Oh no. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Must be no political foreign. Okay, let's move on.
Understand them.
They spoke to Israel too? That makes it okay because they spoke to Israel too?
I don't have a problem with them speaking with anyone in regards of Hamas, And the idea, of course, about a news station is that they hear different people, right?
The idea that there is some equivalence here between the innocent victims, the country whose citizens have been slaughtered simply because they are Jews, the country that supports law and order and democracy and security, and they're lumped in as just the other side of the story, as opposed to the bloodthirsty terrorist organisation that exists to not just kill Jews, but eliminate all Jewish people and eradicate their country. Look, if you've got any ethics or just any values at all, you understand these are not two even sides to be given equal coverage like it's some sort of state election campaign. Israel versus Hamas is not the same as Israel versus the Palestinian Liberation Organization or the Palestinian Authority. Israel versus Hamas is about good versus evil. It's about order versus chaos, life versus death, and innocence versus guilt. You can't give these things equal billing. Does the ABC not understand that Hamas is not the Palestinian people? Hamas is not a negotiating partner. Hamas is ISIS. It's Al-Qaeda. It's Jamaat Islamiyah. And the ABC wants to treat it like the Harper Valley PTA. And it says it might even give a platform to more terrorist organisations in the future.
Senator, it's not something we rush to. It's something we do take very seriously when we do, but I wouldn't rule out that we might, depending on the situation, interview somebody representing a terrorist organisation.
Oh, so Hezbollah perhaps could be next?
Senator, those editorial decisions are there for good journalism reasons. They are there to dispel the claims that are being made.
Look, surely this bloke can't remain in charge at the ABC. He just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand journalism. He doesn't understand the ABC Charter. He's just the figurehead of a staff-run collective that's out of control. But most of us have got some time for some aspects of the ABC.
I think it's fair enough to interview, to hear the other side. So just, whether they're lying or bullshitting and all that, you should be allowed to, I don't get this, I don't get this censorship, but, I don't get the censorship of these atrocities either that the IDF made. But anyway, let's see here. I know. case. Well. It could be. Oh, well. Oh, yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm still running. Oh, I forgot about that.
See, it's an organisation that will probably always be with us, so it needs some leadership. It needs to understand the values that taxpayers expect it to uphold. Not partisan values, not political, just decent, democratic.
Anyway, so I tried to write the IDF, but not sure if it was sent. I would think it was sent, but I don't know. Maybe the information was lost. I don't know. Maybe it's. I did push send and it, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I guess it is what it is. Interesting how it changes sides. But when you say send, it doesn't really say, well, the thing was sent to you and all that. They did have a, oh, okay, so after I actually did send them a message, I got the email as well, which I think I already wrote to you beforehand. So in regards to the spokesperson, now, but the spokesperson is also on the, on the contact us, that's, no, okay. Anyway, I have the email. Oh, send email, right? So you can send an email. You can send the IDF website request. I really don't know if it actually did send anything. Maybe the email thing will actually pop up with a, yeah, you got. Anyway. So let's see here. Go into here. There we go. No, I don't see anything from. Well, getting spam for sure, but that's typical. Some kind of feminist. Mystery of iniquity. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Oh yeah, sorry. There we go. Okay, anything else? This is the final sign. Well, Israel escaped from Israel. Oh yeah, that's from Nehemiah. Is it safe to travel to Israel? U.S. State Department plans mutiny. Not sure what that. U.S. government crumble. Blah blah. That's just Book of Gad. That was very interesting. I actually also was thinking about something. Yeah, that was interesting. I'll see what this is. Nigel Favreau.
So Scotland's First Minister Humza Yousaf said he is willing to take Gaza refugees, and there's pressure from Egypt for the UK to do the same. Some would say it's our moral duty, of course.
So would you welcome a Gaza refugee into your home? We did so with Ukrainian refugees. We're joined by GB News' own Nigel Farage to discuss this. Nigel, your thoughts. What do you make of Humza Yousaf's comments that Scotland is open to refugees from Gaza?
Well, it might be for him, but I don't suppose for one moment he is the majority of Scottish people. I mean, look, since the Brexit referendum, we've taken in over half of people. They've come from Syria, they've come from Pakistan, they've come from Hong Kong, they've come from Ukraine, and we keep being told, well, these are exceptional circumstances. Well, here's yet another exceptional circumstance. So firstly, in terms of sheer numbers, I think we just got to say enough's enough. And secondly, isn't it interesting that Egypt won't take any refugees from Gaza? Do you know why? Because they don't want to import terrorism into Egypt, just as Saudi Arabia didn't take a single person after the Syrian conflicts. So if their neighbours are not prepared to take any, I frankly don't see why we should do so. And, you know, when you get this morning an independent report, a line to the Home Office, independent, says we already have a problem. Self-integration being poor because of mass migration. Well, how many more people do we want marching on the streets of London, demonstrating? There is actually a cultural element to this that I think is very important. So we've always been a very generous country, but if the rest of the Arab states aren't prepared to help, why on earth should we?
Nigel, I think it's really important as well to point out
Oh, wow.
Most Muslims who live in this country are peaceful, they are kind people, they don't wish any harm on other people. But we have failed.
Yeah, well, there's like 4 stages, right? It's like Roman Catholicism. I think it's like 4 stages, 3 or 4 stages. I think 4 stages you have, both of Roman Catholicism and Mohammedanism. So it depends in regards to how many they are. So, yeah.
Perhaps to recognize a sort of existential threat, you might say, of radical extremist Muslim jihads, and the threat that they pose to a Western way of life here. Who would you hold culpable for that, which could at best be perhaps naivety, maybe, if we're being generous? Who do you lay the blame? Blair, to some degree?
Yeah, not your viewers. Not your viewers. The Labour and Conservative parties who lie to the British public at every, and it's a strong word, but I mean it, they lie to the British public at every general election, telling them numbers coming into Britain, sheer numbers coming into Britain, will be under control and will go down. And we're now at record levels of legal net migration, at huge numbers, as I've said already, of refugees coming since 2016. And that's before you even start to talk about the young men from very different cultures crossing the English Channel. We have, the first duty of the British government is to put the safety and security of the country and its own people first. And if you allow millions of people in who come from cultures that are very different from ours, with whom we have very little in common, it's no surprise we've got these massive problems of integration.
Oh, Nigel, I just want to ask you whether you believe politicians have forgotten who they're working for. Surely, when it comes to immigration policy, it should be about what the British people
anymore, that's for sure. They work for the devil and the Antichrist. It's been a long time that they're purposely making issues for people, moving them around.
want and need, and national security should be top of the government's agenda. For someone like Humza Yousaf, it appears that he is more concerned about supposed international humanitarian duties, but not really necessarily about what the Scottish people want.
Look, frankly, there is no issue on which our main political parties all around the UK and the populace are further apart. I can promise you, if there was a national referendum held on how many people should come to Britain legally, on what we should do with those that come illegally, and how many people we should take in war zones around the world, we would get a very different result to that is produced by the Westminster Parliament and indeed the Scottish Parliament.
Nigel, we've been debating this morning the relative merits of Rishi Sunak being out there, the cost of him going there to the British taxpayer, but also to the Israelis who are having to keep him safe while he's there, and the benefit that he might bring on that trip. Where do you stand on it?
Well, cost is a very marginal point here. We are at a moment where there is a real danger of major escalation in the Middle East, which could profoundly affect the lives of all of us around the world. I think it's right that Rishi Sunak. I'm very surprised how little has been said about the British citizens that have been killed, or should I say murdered, and the British citizens that are still being held hostage. It's almost as if we've forgotten about these people. Well, I certainly haven't. And I absolutely hope the top of Sunak's list is finding out what the plan is to extract our people who are being held hostage right now. I understand the detachment of the SAS on its way, but also worth noting that the Americans yesterday, Biden's always a bit jumpy and stumbly, but intelligence believes, and that's now actually what most of the world believes. And yet Rishi Sunak refused to be drawn on that, refused to say earlier on, look, let's be clear, this was a Hamas misfire. And I wonder why he's running away from that. Is it that he fears even bigger street protests on the cities of our country?
Yes, well, Nigel, earlier we spoke to human rights lawyer Ivan Sampson about the question of whether we should take in refugees from Gaza. Have a listen to this and then can you react to what he says for us?
If somebody's a genuine refugee and wants to claim asylum here, we should have safe routes to do that. Look, Lebanon has 22% of its population as refugees. We have 0.6%. It's just a complete lie to say we've been overrun with refugees. It's just simply not true.
Okay. Well, go on, Nigel, your reaction to that.
Well, we're not Lebanon. We are the United Kingdom. Look at it. We're putting people on barges. We're filling up over 400 hotels around the country. If Ivan Sampson is saying we don't have a problem with housing people, whether they're genuine refugees or people illegally crossing the channel, then frankly, he's in cloud cuckoo land. And I think all through the centuries, there is no country in the world who has actually got a finer record of genuinely helping those in. We've done more than our fair share over the course of the last few years. Enough is enough. And Ivan, if you listen to the UNHCR, there are up to 80 million people around the world displaced. How many millions does Ivan think should come? I'd love to know the answer.
Yeah. Okay.
They never have an answer to that.
No, it's always one that's slightly dodged. But Nigel, thank you so much.
It could be interesting in regards to seeing a little more in regards of, apparently also we are getting low on battery. Interesting to, there's no, oh my, I guess we're going to take a break if we don't have any power. It might be pretty low, and there was not much sun today, so it hasn't generated much energy. But it would be interesting in regards to hear more from these videos. Okay, let's see here. New Israeli unit tasked with killing all Hamas terrorists involved in. Something else.
Okay, this girl behind me is super cute. I'm seriously gonna ask to get her number. Hey, I thought you were really cute. Can I get your number?
Shut up, bye.
No? Can I? What is it? I'm just kidding. Do you want to get married? We're getting married? We're having babies? Okay, this girl behind me is...
Okay, new Israeli unit tasked with killing all Hamas terrorists. See what that is about 1 hour ago.
All right, let's bring in Dan O'Shea, retired Navy SEAL commander and former hostage negotiator. Great to see you, Dan. First off, on these hostages, we see 2 yesterday. Now there's a big push to delay a ground invasion because more hostages could get out. We're up around 220 at this moment. Will that be effective? Is Hamas playing a coy game?
Well, this is why they did it. This is why they grabbed the hostages. It's their only bargaining chip, and it has put pressure on the IDF and Netanyahu and his leadership. We know that behind the scenes, the U.S. is pressuring them to delay the offensive, to reduce probably the number of airstrikes. Rightfully so. The not just the hostages, but Gazan civilians, as your reporter on the ground was sharing, they're caught in the crossfires of this too, and that's done intentionally. So this hostage game is going to be played out over the coming weeks and months, and they are hostages. Don't get anything wrong about what the current status is. They're held in terrible conditions right now, and like we're hearing from the 2 grandmothers that came out, they're held in the tunnel systems right now, which makes even a hostage rescue attempt even that more challenging.
What did you think about that when she said she was being held with about 25 other hostages? Because that actually gives me a peace of mind that they're all together at least, maybe not as fearful. Yeah. Because if you're by yourself and, Lord knows what could happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, this is, they're probably spread out in 25, that's a lot, but they're not in all one area. They're definitely spread out there for obvious reasons. They're trying to spread out, and again, we understand there's more than one group potentially holding, it's not under one chain of command. But this is hostage terrorism. This is how terrorist groups negotiate with the West. This was done intentionally. In 2004 in Fallujah, after a lot of the Nick Berg beheading, in fact, when the Marines went in on Fallujah 2, and one of the houses where they recovered the remains of some of the hostages that had been beheaded, we found a Hamas training manual. And the title of the manual said, "No need to hunt lions when there are plenty of sheep to be had." That was literally the title of a Hamas manual on kidnapping and terrorism. So they invented this whole kidnapping in the Middle East, started in Lebanon in the 80s and 90s. And, this is a playbook directly out of Hamas, all these Islamic jihadist groups, and they're playing it very well. It's a brutal, barbaric tactic, but it's been very effective because I guarantee every day the IDF does not go in and start the offensive, it's a victory for Hamas. Another day for them to prepare their defenses.
Right, and Dan, this relates to the manual you were just talking about. Yesterday, the IDF played some video from some of the interrogations of the Hamas terrorists, and essentially they all said Islam does not permit the killing of women and children, and yet they were told to go out and kill civilians, including women and children. And one terrorist told Israeli forces, whoever brings a hostage back to Gaza gets $10,000 and an apartment. One of the hostages was released yesterday, 85 years old. She did a press availability about 2 hours ago. Here's her daughter talking about what it was like in that tunnel.
My mom is telling the horrific stories. She's saying that many people, a swarm of people came through the fence. My mom is saying that she was taken on the back of a motorbike with her body, with her legs on one side and her hands on another side. That she was taken through the plowed fields with a man in front on one side and a man behind her. There are a huge network of tunnels underneath. It looks like a spider web.
So there are the tunnels, and apparently that's where these people are, and that's a problem.
Yeah, planning considerations for this mission are going to be complicated by the fact they're in a tunneling system, which makes it even harder. And again, as has been noted, Gaza is one of the most densely populated places on the planet. The fact that there is no friendly on the ground, we don't have forward operating bases. We can't fly helicopters into Gaza without raising an alarm. So launching a hostage rescue mission, which is critical, requires obviously number one, proof of life, that hostages are still alive. Two, you want a 10-digit grid. You need to know exactly where they're being held, not just in a tunneling system, but exactly where in the tunneling system. Because the moment you have to go kinetic and make those noises when you're inserting, you compromise. And we can assume that Hamas, as they're portraying these pictures, that they're treating these hostages well. In reality, they're standing there over them with AK-47s. And trust me, as soon as they hear something like the attempt of a hostage rescue, they will start killing the hostages. And that's why this situation is so challenging for the hostage rescue forces currently.
Yeah. So, Dan, there's this new unit in Israel. It's called the NILI unit. And apparently they have one goal, and it's to kill all Hamas terrorists involved in the October 7th attack. My question to you is, former President Obama released a statement yesterday, and this is what he said in part. Hamas military operations are deeply embedded within Gaza, and its leadership seems to intentionally hide among civilians, thereby endangering the very people they claim to represent. He went on to say that still the world is watching closely as events in the region unfold, and any Israeli military strategy that ignores human costs. The reason why I set that up is because there's been a lot of criticism of Israel and what they do. So, as a door kicker yourself, can you explain the human cost of war? That is part of war.
Listen, Hamas intentionally puts their own civilians at risk. That is the challenge, because again, it is a fight for world opinion. I mean, within 24 hours of the murderous display on October 7th, you had apologists around the world. You had riots and demonstrations around the world in support of Palestine. So this is a battle as much on the world stage as it is going on in Gaza. And it will be fought out with these images and perspectives of what people consider legitimate targets in one side of the world, which to another, you're violating every rule of armed conflict by grabbing innocent civilians, women, children, grandmothers, grandparents. I mean, again, think of the family right now. They've got their mothers back, their grandmothers back, but their grandfathers and fathers are still being held by Gaza. So this is a fight on the world stage, and it's again, what hostage terrorism is the weapon of mass effect, and we're seeing that play out right now.
Can you fight and win a war with values and beliefs against an enemy that has none?
You cannot give anyone like Hamas no quarter. Yeah. You cannot give them any mercy. They have to be rooted out. Listen, the kidnapping crisis in Iraq, over 2 years, there were 448 kidnappings from 2004 to 2006. And when I arrived in Iraq in 2004, we were dealing with 31, then 43, then 54 kidnappings of internationals per month. It seemed like an insurmountable task, but we focused on very simple priorities like this Neely group is going to be. We had one simple focus, one rescue recovery of hostages and targeting those kidnappers. And that's what we did. And by the end of my tour, kidnappings were in the single digits. So IDF will be successful, but they need to be focused on the mission and give no mercy to Hamas.
They've killed 5 top Hamas commanders, so they're on their way. They were involved in October 7th, according to them.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay. See what we have here.
After the IDF shared with hundreds of foreign journalists body cam videos and pictures from Hamas's October 7th onslaught on southern Israel, the Shin Bet and Israeli police shared footage from interrogations of Hamas terrorists from Gaza who participated in the destruction and mass murder. In it, they describe in detail how they were ordered to kill and kidnap women and children.
وين ساكن؟ السلام. لأي منظمة أنت تابع؟ حماس. قولي شو المهمة كانت تبعتكم؟ خطف يعني. زي كذا. خطف وأسر من كفر عزة؟ لما أحكوا لكم يعني قتل وأسر أنتوا رايحين على مستوطنة فيها مدنيين، عارفينها ولا شيء؟ قولي المهمة تبعتكم شو كانت بالضبط لما طلعتوا؟ السيطرة على موقع صوفا. السيطرة وشو تعملوا؟ سيطرة وشو؟ مركز فين؟ شو
said in their investigations that they received orders to kidnap as many people as they could, specifically women and children, and to kill the rest.
قديش المكافأة قانونكم؟ شقة منزل بيت $10,000 اللي بيجيب كل أسير باخذ شقة ومنزل؟ مين قال لكم إياها هاي؟ اللي كانوا يحكوها في القسام. وشو عمل القسام إهبري؟ قتل. مين قتل؟ مدنيين. دخلوا اثنين على البيت. طال في غرفة في الوجه مسكرة، طخ على الباب صار في صوت جوا. دخلوا كمان اثنين، كان في واحد مرن على الباب زوامية، كان في دم جنبه طبعا، كان في جوا زلمة مصاب، وأنا بتوقع إنها عائلة كاملة. دخل أول دار، بعدين المرة كانت المرة، دخل حمزة على باب الدار. واللي المرة لما شفتها يعني شو شفت عليها؟ شفتها أنا مرمية بس ما قربتش منها يعني طلع الكلب تبعها بالشارع طخيته أنا. شو عملت؟ طخين على الشبابيك والابواب. لا ومين طخيتينها؟ طخيت مره كبيره. هي كانت بالها ولا ايش يعني؟ تفاجئت فيها طخيت. وشو عملتوا كمان في الدور؟ ولعنا ضار ضرير ولعنا. سكروا الباب من جوا حصنا. بعدين لفوا صار طلع برا على المدرسه وبين صار يقولوا في يهود هان في يهود. ايش وكان الشباك مسكر حديد. صاروا يقولوا لهم افتحوا معه افتحوا ما ردوش كانوا خايفين جابوا مسطرة حطوها على الشباك وفجروا الشباك فتح نتفة صغيرة صار يولعوا واحد صار يولع قطع قماش من داخلها يقول انه انخنقوا من داخلها. كان معهم أسلحة يدافعوا عن حالهم؟ لا ما اطلقوش نار.
With many around the world denying the atrocities that were committed against innocent Israeli civilians, Israeli interrogators asked the detainees what Islam has to say about what they did.
حسب الدين الإسلامي مش أنت إسلامي؟ الدين الإسلامي بيقول لك هيك تعال اقتل. لا خليني أفهم. هذه التصرفات أنت ما بتشوفها يعني مش زي داعش هيك قتل المدنيين عشوائيا؟ صحيح.
الدين منع يعني النبي قال لا تقتلوا امرأة لا تقتلوا طفلا لا تعقروا امرأة لا زي فاهم علي. الدين ما بيحث على التشويه والتنكيل
The arrested Hamas terrorists point a blaming finger at their leadership, who seeks refuge abroad, while Gaza is laid to rubble.
ايش القتل هذا كله؟ شو اللي صار؟ مضحوك علينا احنا منه. مغرر فينا ومضحوك علينا منه. من مين مضحوك عليكم؟ انتين حماس. اللي هم قاعدين في الدور وسايبيننا هنا ويسووا لنا جوع. يعني هيك بتفكر انت؟ هيك بفكر. يعني هم قطر ولا تركيا وبيحكي باسم الأقصى والمسلمين وقاعد غادوا بعتنا هنا. هيك هم غادوا احنا منهم. مغرر فينا ومضحوك علينا منه. من مين مضحوك عليكم؟ انتين حماس. اللي هم قاعدين في الدور وسايبيننا هنا ويسووا لنا جوع. يعني هيك بتفكر انت؟ هيك بفكر. يعني هم قطر ولا تركيا وبيحكي باسم الأقصى والمسلمين وقاعد غادوا بعتنا هنا. هيك هم غادوا هي برضه أهالينا وغزة يعني قاعدين.
Who seeks refuge abroad, while Gaza is laid to rubble.
ايش القتل هذا كله؟ شو اللي صار؟ مضحوك علينا احنا منه. مغرر فينا ومضحوك علينا منه. من مين مضحوك عليكم؟ انتين حماس. اللي هم قاعدين في الدور وسايبيننا هنا ويسووا لنا جوع. يعني هيك بتفكر انت؟ هيك بفكر. يعني هم قطر ولا تركيا.
Turkey. That's interesting. So Qatar and Turkey. Those who sit in Qatar and Turkey, and apparently this news station, of course, that seems to be go back to. So yeah, you have these different Mohammedan nations, and apparently Turkey seems to, but of course the Turkey hasn't been positive either. But anyway, who knows? Anyway, guys, so the Mohammedan nations are just full of depravity. Don't want to solve the issue. They just want to wipe out the Jews.
الأقصى والمسلمين وقاعد غادوا بعتنا هنا.
Well, they sent us, those in Qatar and Turkey, they speak in the name of Al-Qas.
والدكتور دول دمروا بس في ايش دمروا غزة؟ في كل هاي انت شايف في ضايل غزة لا ضايل غزة لا دمرت يعني غزة مين اللي دمرها؟ بيديهم وبيدينا دمرنا غزة.
Well, like, you know, just some small this and that, you know. Why can't we just see the whole thing, you know? So if it's full video interrogating to Hamas, but like is a full video, is that like full video of one person, or you know, not the full thing? No, actually, seems to be the same. Same thing. So. How old is this one?
We're talking about the latest as Israel.
6 days ago. Well, kind of, that's too old. Incredible how things get so old so quickly. And I got some things. What's it called? This interrogation. Uh-uh. 80% of bodies found, including children, were tortured. Yeah, raw footage. Yeah.
Joining me now is CEO of Together Vouch for Each Other, Yosef Haddad. Joining me now is CEO of Together Vouch for Each Other, Yosef Haddad. Yosef, I'm pleased to have you back on the program, but sadly it is under such terrible circumstances. You're in Tel Aviv. There have been reports in recent hours from Tel Aviv news channel I-24 that, according to their sources within Gaza, a potential hostage release deal is currently being finalised, with Qatari mediation playing a key role. If the deal is struck, it would see Red Cross receive a group of about 50 hostages who hold dual citizenship.
Well, first of all, it's unacceptable to the Israeli society here, that's for sure. We've been hearing about this, by the way. Today, Hamas released another 2 hostages. So in total, we have 4 hostages been released from Gaza. And people are talking here about releasing another 50 with dual citizenship. And the Israeli citizens here are absolutely shocked, because for them, you cannot and you shouldn't negotiate with the terrorist organization ISIS Hamas. That's their name, by the way, and everybody in the world should call them ISIS Hamas. Therefore, we urge the Israeli government and the leaders here to release or the immediate release of all the kidnapped Israelis who were kidnapped by the terrorist organization Hamas. And this is something that is widely accepted by the majority of the Israeli society.
Now let's talk about the reporting on this conflict, the unprecedented attack by Hamas and the counteroffensive by Israel. Some of the reporting has frankly been putrid. And I'm talking about the likes of the New York Times, Washington Post, our ABC here in Australia, and perhaps most prominently that other taxpayer-funded giant, the BBC. And I want to play you this clip of former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, who had obviously had enough. Watch this astonishing exchange with a BBC anchor.
Last week, a hospital was fired by Islamic Jihad that fired a rocket on it, and BBC said that it was Israel, but it wasn't Israel. And I understand that BBC has taken a side of on the Gazan side because all your questions are only about the Gazan civilians.
That's not
you
true.
haven't asked one question.
That's not
you
true.
haven't asked one question
I began
about
by
those children. From the very beginning of this interview,
From the very
you are asking me about them.
Mr.
But
Bennett,
it seems
that
that
is
you
not
cared
true.
little about our side. Oh, it is.
Mr. Bennett, I began by talking about the hostages. And what I'm asking you about now is...
No, I'm not talking about the hostages. I'm talking about the babies that were murdered. And you keep on caring only about one side, but that is the BBC way. But let me tell you something. We're here protecting you. We don't need your protection. And if you think there's a balance here between two equal sides, then you are lacking moral clarity. And BBC, I must say, is lacking moral clarity. What you guys did last week, shame on you.
Yosef, why are so many in the Western media willing to believe what Hamas tell them? Do they really think a group that is capable of torturing and slaughtering women and children is not going to lie to them?
You know what? It's even more than that. Think about the fact that take a media outlet like BBC, and I ask a simple question: where is your honesty? Where is what we call it real journalism? Where you call it being a reliable news source? Because what BBC has been doing in the latest or in the last 2 weeks is literally being a biased, one-sided, with a terrorist organization that massacred. And I saw that on the strike, you put 1,400 Israelis. I know that this is the official number right now. Unfortunately, we are still counting bodies, and from sources that I have, we're talking about another few hundreds of dead Israelis. That's the atrocity that happened on the 7th of October. Now, what's happening in the international media, at least some of the international media, it's kind of like a game for them. They see it as a game. They see it as, we want click bites. We want to generate more and more people to enter so we can have better ratings. We can have a better selling commercials on our website. And what a better way to do it than just paint the Palestinians as the one who are victimized by the evil and the strong Israeli IDF army and of course the country. I mean, just look not only just look at how the BBC is actually working. This is something is quite unbelievable to see even how Al Jazeera and other Arab media outlets are working. You know what they're doing to the Arab world? They are brainwashing them. And for those who don't know, I am an Arab Israeli. So my mother tongue language is Arabic. So I follow the media in Arabic. I follow the social media in Arabic. And what they're saying there is unbelievable. They're completely lying about absolutely everything. They said that Israel bombed the hospital. Until today, they haven't issued any correction. Nobody said anything about the fact that it was the Islamic Jihad who did that. Nobody said about the fact that Israel did not bomb a church in Gaza. Because until now, the Arab world thinks that Israel bombed the church in Gaza. And nobody knows even why Hamas is hitting cache weapons under a mosque. And we have the proof for it. So these things we're seeing throughout some of the international media, a lot of the Arab media, and you cannot not see that they are biased. But you know what? I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for giving me also the opportunity to send the message that Hamas is ISIS and what what have they been doing for us since the 7th of October. They are humiliating us, and they're humiliating us not because of course it's because of what they done on the 7th of October, but it's also because of what they're doing after that. Because after that, they're trying to paint themselves as they are a humane organization that keeps their kidnappers in a perfect conditions and try to help them. We just saw footage when they released the two elderly women. We just see them holding their hands and walking with them, trying parents being tortured. And then you want to tell me, because of a footage of Hamas taking the kidnapped elderly people hand by hand, they're trying to show that they're humane. Please, if you fall for that, then you're nothing, and I apologize for my words, you're nothing but an ignorant. You're nothing but an imbecile. This is a terrorist organization. What they're trying to do is brainwash you and trying to give you the idea that they are in some way humane. They are animals. You know what? And if I'm saying they're animals, I'm actually assaulting the animals. They're inhumane, and this is what we need to do to say for everyone in the world must understand who they are. Don't get fooled by Hamas. I beg you, don't get fooled by ISIS Hamas. They're a terrorist organization.
Yes, if you attended a media briefing where the media from around the world saw the scale of the atrocities Hamas committed, the Israel government took the extreme measure of showing the world's media vision of some of these crimes that have been seen across Israel after the poor reporting, after doubts were cast about reports of decapitated babies and families burnt alive. Can you tell us about this briefing?
Yes. You know, Rita, I've been seeing a lot of bad footages in the last 2.5 weeks. I've been seeing footages that I don't wish anybody in the world, to see. But today, it was something else. And for the last 2.5 weeks, Rita, I've been very strong. I did not break. And today, when the IDF exposed a 43-minute video of a raw footage from the GoPro of the terrorists, GoPro cameras of the terrorists, and from the CCTV cameras were in the kibbutz and in some of the houses, raw footages that were for the first time revealed by the IDF in front of 200 journalists from the international media.
They brought together to bring light to it is beautiful.
I would totally agree. I'm so glad that you guys came out. I think everyone, all of you, can change the game, and that's what this is all about, And, speaking of, people changing the game and special shout-outs, my boy Jorge at the other side of the red carpet has a special shout-out from his second grade.
Parts of the world, the word teacher is translated to mean nation builder, right? And that is what our teachers do every day in America. And we are here to celebrate them, celebrate innovation, celebrate transformation, and to come together to do what's right by our nation's young people.
The other thing is, we're here to serve them. And too often, teachers feel embattled and they feel belittled and unappreciated.
Let's see here. Oh, it's still up.
And what I saw there is something that I cannot comprehend. I want to talk about the horrific footage that I saw of a father running away with his 2 kids, barely 10 years old, trying to go to a warehouse that was closed outside of their house. But Hamas terrorists, they run after them, and in front of the 2 kids, they shot the father and killed him in front of their eyes. After that, they dragged the 2 kids inside of the house. The kid was shot in the eye. The other kid was injured. Both of them were injured badly. And the Hamas terrorists, they find time to open the fridge and drink Coca-Cola. And at that time, one of the kids shouted, "Kill me, why I am not dead?" A 10-year-old kid is shouting, "Kill me, I don't want to be alive." This footage was seen by 200 international journalists. I beg the Israeli government, please release the footages. Release what I saw. The world needs to see this. Right now, I am the witness. Right now, this is my testimony. But there is actually footage for that can back up everything I'm saying right now. and the world needs to see what ISIS Hamas did to us. Do you understand how it was hard to see that kid begging to be dead? He wanted to die. Do you understand, Rita? That's the reality. And then the second thing, please, that I want to share with you.
Go ahead.
The second thing that I wanted to share with you is an actual record talk between one of the terrorists while he was in the kibbutz in the south of Israel, calling his parents in Gaza. He was so happy that he killed 10 Israelis. He said that. You can listen to that. Everybody listen to that. And the father is telling him, praise God. Thank you. Come back. And he goes like, I'm not coming back. I want to kill more. This is what we're dealing with. This is ISIS, Hamas, and I beg you, spread that message. And it's not only me, as an Arab Israeli citizen who's saying that. You have 200 journalists from the world are witness to what I'm saying, and they can verify that. And at the same time, I beg Israel, speak to the families, get authorization, and release the footage. The world needs and must see it to understand the ISIS Hamas. Please share this as much as possible.
Yeah, I think we've seen enough, I guess. Yeah, I'm sure they are horrifying images.